Hello and welcome back to the Shadow Cult podcast on the Shadow Cult channel. It is episode 21, and we're in the second week of essentially Halloween month. And we got a special episode tonight. We are doing WWE Evolution 2018, but of course I'm not alone. I'm joined by Walt, Scott, as always, but special guest. Please welcome Scott's wife, Ms. Michelle. How are you?
Hi, everybody. It's nice to be here.
Yep, so I figured before we get started, curious, I bet people who are watching this right now are very curious about how you and Scott met and how you guys are still together through everything, you know?
20 years
20
in
years,
April.
Yeah, 20 years in April
Wow.
next year.
He's the storyteller. He's going to tell a story.
All right, I'll tell it, and then she'll tell me when I'm telling a lie.
I'll just tell you,
boy.
wait a minute, this is kind of how it happened on my side of the phone.
Yeah. Basically, I was booking a wrestling promotion in a town in Rutland, Vermont, and she was working for a different promotion in northern Vermont, and the promoter of the show I was booking hired some of the wrestlers in that company she worked for to come down and do the show, and he also rented their ring. So you rent the ring, you get the guys to come set it up, and they get a match on the show. And she was a manager in that match. We didn't really know each other at that point. It was months later that the owner of the company gave me a promo package that she had made, and it was a resume, beautifully typed, and 3 8x10 glossies, gorgeous. And I got that. I was like, well, I need to talk to this woman, and called her up, and we just stayed on the phone for hours, and eventually we met, and it just kind of went from there. And she came into the company that I was booking. She was a manager. She got to manage Walter and a crew that he was involved in as a main heel faction with the company. Eventually, the new booker of the company put us together, and we just went
His
from there.
exact words were, "You're married. People are going to see you together. You might as well work together."
Yeah. And that's
which was fine. I was managing your stuff anyway from home.
Right. Yeah. And that's essentially how we met. And we were both in the business already, so we had an idea of it. And I think that's been a plus to our relationship because we get the business, we got each other, and how we get with our passion for the business, and we support each other in that. So that just kind of filtered into other aspects of our life.
And in the beginning, if I can say this part, when we met, it was, when we had our first date, it was April 20th, 2002. 2001, excuse me. Mm-hmm. And we got married April 20th, 2002.
Right.
And Mr. Walter was the best man in our wedding.
Yes, he was.
Mm-hmm. So back then, though, it was not okay for women to date wrestlers, especially if you're in the same company. You were looked at as
a rat.
A rat.
Oh, God.
It didn't matter if you were in the business or not. You shouldn't. So we really tried to keep it quiet, but it was absolutely pointless. Yeah. Because everybody kind of figured it out right away.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I had an acting background, so I was able to cut promos. I learned what I needed to do outside the ring, inside the ring by watching a lot of footage. And I think I caught on pretty well. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given me that position in the company. But when the other booker came in, or we worked for other promotions, they gave me the same exact spots. So I enjoyed doing it, and I enjoyed being with him as well. So when we weren't working together as manager and wrestler, we would walk into a building together. And it happened right up until we both retired. We would walk into a building together. He would go left, I would go right, and we would say hello to each other somewhere in the evening.
Enjoy your show.
Because he would have things to do with the men's locker room, and I had things to do with the women's locker room.
Right.
But we still talk about wrestling to this day, you know? But again, in the beginning, you weren't supposed to date. Stephanie and Triple H, that was a huge no-no, and they've even talked about that on interviews. You weren't supposed to date inside the wrestling business. Now, everybody is in a relationship. If you find out that so-and-so is in a relationship with so-and-so in the business, it's okay. Wonderful for them. I hope they get married. Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch are going to have a baby. That's wonderful. 20 years ago?
Yeah.
No. Don't talk about kayfabe.
Now, what if that happened under Bill Watts' watch?
Oh, my God.
Cornette.
Lord.
Nope, it would not.
Cornette. Oof.
Ricky, I appreciate the analogy of Macho Man and Elizabeth, but we were nowhere near that level. But I keep hearing
Fucking Batista, shut up!
They're more exotic Adrian Street and Miss Linda.
There you go.
There you go.
So basically,
God damn it.
Actually,
what I liked when you guys were working together, though, is you had two people that were actually very good on the mic. Scott and Michelle were both very good talkers, and sometimes in a lot of cases that looks like it's overkill. It's kind of like, in wrestling they look for balance, but not in this instance. You guys fed off each other very well with promos and interactions in the ring and such.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Luckily we had, we could play off each other with promos and ideas. Yeah. I was booking, she was my sounding board, and I'd throw stuff at her and say, does this make sense? Do you like this? And she would be honest with me and say, I don't like that. Why are you doing that? And I try to explain in my mind why I thought it was a good idea. And she just has a look where I'm like, okay.
Okay. All right. Think of me as a fan.
So,
and as for that gentleman who said something about Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth, honestly, Miss Elizabeth was the entire reason I wanted to get into the wrestling business. When I was 9 years old, I wanted to be Miss Elizabeth, but I never wore a prom dress to the ring.
So you did a very slim denim dress one night.
Yes, that was my Miss Elizabeth moment right there.
Get that.
But no, actually, when I got into the business, it was 2000 and 2001. It was the time of Trish and Lita.
Right.
So I wanted to do what they were doing at ringside, and I did get to do those kind of things.
Wow.
And she stepped up her own game because she was just going to be a manager. And there came a time where she had the opportunity to start booking women for a promotion in Vermont. But that also meant that she kind of had to step up and start wrestling. And she's only had about a handful of matches, but she put her heart into it. She worked really hard to try to put over the idea that, she wanted to kill the person she's in the ring with and do everything she can to have great fights and great battles. Most prominent feud that she had, we have to kayfabe this, by the way, Walter, we have to kayfabe, was with a woman named Demonica, who wrestled in the same area. Mm-hmm. And her and Demonica had, I think 3 matches, and they were pretty much knockdown, drag out, hardcore style brawls. And
that was what was popular at the time. Yeah. And it was also at that time was also the bra and panty matches and the matches and the paddle on poles matches. I did those kind of matches with another girl named Shayna, and we had fun doing those. But I knew that Demonica and I would do better with the hardcore matches. And before anybody asked, no, never took a chair shot, never went through a table. This will sound very girly in my sense. Left it to the guys. In that generation, women weren't doing that.
Right. Yeah.
What is happening now in women's wrestling, especially with what we're going to talk about with Evolution, that's what me and Demonica wanted to see happen 20 years ago. So we're very happy that it finally happened.
Yeah.
But at that point, the indie circuit was much more populated. And the reason we were able to book women from other companies, such as Lexify, Mischief, Ariel,
Alexis.
Yeah. Alexis, who is now currently going by her real name, Alicia Edwards.
In Impact.
On Impact.
Eddie Edwards' wife.
We got to book all those women because of a website called Glory Wrestling. And it had about anywhere from 50 to 100, and then I got a little overloaded with more than 100, but 100 women on it, and it was all women's wrestlers and managers.
Indie wrestlers.
But it was indie. Mm-hmm. And we were able to talk to each other on a private message board, and we began to work and being like, oh, you want to come to Vermont and work? Oh, you want to come here to work? It made it more of a sisterhood, and we were able to reach out to each other and explain, what we can afford, what we can do. Do you need a hotel room? Stuff like that. And I'm grateful for that website because it really drew a lot of us together. But still, not everybody wants to drive to Vermont for gas money.
Yeah.
And you don't blame them either. It's not what it is today, where how long was Sasha Banks on the Indies? Not even a full year or 2 years?
Couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years tops, maybe.
Before she got grabbed
to NXT, yeah.
by NXT. Well, there are women still working on the Indies who were lucky enough to end up in Shimmer.
Like in the Glory website, you had Lexi Fife, who was the mainstay with Shimmer Wrestling, is the modern day matriarch of women's wrestling. If there's a woman in the NXT locker room on TV right now, chances are she's either stayed at Lexi's house
or worked
for her in some way, shape, or form. She's awesome.
Paige lived at Lexi Fi's house
before she got her own place.
You
had Riptide, who was the Prodiget in ECW. You had Alexis Lurie, now known as Mickie James.
Mm-hmm. One of my faves.
Yep, Gail Kim was on there. Allison Danger, Steve Corino's sister, was on there. That's how you got to meet Allison that one night in Ring of Honor.
Love Allison.
Almost all of them were on there. Any major women's wrestler or personality from like 2000
Christy
onward was actually on that Glory Wrestling page. A lot of them were.
Yeah. And Angelina.
ODB was on there too.
ODB, yeah, yep. Exactly.
Yep.
Whoever who was Luke Gallows' ex-wife?
Oh God.
The Bullet Babe. I forgot her name.
I'm trying to remember her name.
Christy Vane's tag partner.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
No,
I know Tracy Brooks was on that page too.
Yep, Tracy Brooks was on there.
Yeah.
Tracy Brooks
and Gail Kim trained together at the same place that Trish Stratus eventually went to.
Right.
Like I said, you ever book her? Give me a ref shirt, please.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I know. But the thing with that Glory website was it didn't last long, unfortunately, because like with so many websites, like she said, it got oversaturated with girls, and the guy who was running it was like pretty much a one-man show.
Yeah, bless his heart.
And I can't remember the guy's name.
I think his name was John. And then there was Lewis Wright.
Yep.
Who handled links of the day and other things like that, and he became a major factor in the. We're still friends with him to this day. He's a great guy. But again, when you're one man dealing with 150 women,
it just was becoming too much for the guy to handle, and the website eventually passed. It just went away. That's the way it goes. Especially, and this is the early days too of the internet. MySpace was just.
Oh God.
MySpace
that makes me feel old now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you feel old. Jesus Christ. This is before Facebook. YouTube was in its infancy. Mm-hmm. There was just nothing major going on. You had to have a website, an actual website, instead of social media to try to promote your stuff.
I had a Yahoo group
you had to
that
send
Lewis
tapes.
started.
Send tapes. Yep. There's a concept.
Yeah, kids. Remember back when there were VHSs? No, you were probably too young.
Exactly.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know what a tape is, look up VHS on Google, then come back to it.
If only I still had my tapes. I had a shit ton.
We still have a lot of our
footage. Oh yeah, I got a trunk full of them. By the way, I wanted to say hi to Sean and Russell, who are out there in the chat too. Hi guys, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it.
Stopping, guys.
Yep.
So yeah, man. Well, almost 20 years later, we still love watching wrestling together. We got a great time getting to sit down and watch Evolution together, and it's just it's a fun experience to have somebody that you can trust, explicitly, not just in a marriage, but also with a business like pro wrestling.
And what I think our best parts of the wrestling business is when we look back at our footage and we sometimes I'll cry and go, oh my God, that was so much fun when we did that. Mm-hmm. And watch his personality then. What you see right here is what he is. He has all this personality at all times. Even
checks in the mail, dear.
No, there's another candle I want to order.
Oh God.
It's always candles with this woman.
But
I could give you candles.
Yes, you could. Yes, you could.
Actually, the test is underway. You know how long it's been since Jennifer has bought a Yankee Candle?
Oh my God!
A long ass time. I mean, she has. I'm proving myself right. I'm like, we could go a whole year without buying a candle and still have a fuckload left. And we did.
It was a year ago. I got to see you after Cece's wedding, and she had a shit ton then.
Yeah, that's been barely dented, that collection.
I think I have about 14, and like half are fall scents and half are ocean scents. And we just found one called Fresh Mint, which we've had before. And mint is really good for fibromyalgia, so I like burning that. But that's the other thing. When you find someone, anybody out there, all you men out there and all you women out there that are looking for a person that you can spend 20 years with, find a person that can tolerate you, love you, and knows the number one rule of marriage: separate playrooms. If he's going into the office, then I'm in the living room. If he's in the living room, I'm in the bedroom.
And we'll meet each other in the hall, and we have we have hallway sex. Fuck you.
Fuck you too.
There you go.
But
that sounds.
and you'll still take out the garbage.
Oh, this sounds.
I'm unfazed by all this because I've known them for so long. Because I know them so well. It's
Exactly. I mean, and that's another great thing we got out of the business. Great friends like Walter, his family, Joe and his family, and you know, it just became a larger extended family that we have.
I remember Walter was one of the first men I met.
Yep.
And here's the secret story.
Oh boy.
I was standing at the show that he was booking. It was the night I was going to meet him, and he had my profile and everything, and I was nervous about meeting him because I thought, a really nice guy, but I'm not going to date anybody in this business. I know better. And mind you, my mom is standing behind me going, I think he's nice looking, Michelle. I think he's nice. My mother, my mother, she has a sixth sense.
and actually, at first, like, you were kind of like, you're kind of like you thought Jennifer you thought Jennifer was dating Scott because she was always taping Scott's matches.
Secret, yeah. Yes. Jennifer is this beautiful Amazon height, long dark haired woman, and she's standing next to him with his video camera. And I went, if that's his girlfriend, I don't want to go over and say, hi, I'm here to be your new valet manager. When she walked away, I went over to him and I introduced myself and I said, oh, sorry, was that your girlfriend? He said, oh no, that's my best friend's fiance. And another guy came over from the locker room and asked if I was single, and I said, no, I have a boyfriend. And he walked away, and I looked at him and I said, I was kidding, I'm single. And I swear inside I saw this.
Yeah.
And by the way,
someone came down to visit and say hi.
Your image is frozen, so we didn't see it.
Yeah, it's been like constantly like for a while it was like this.
Am I still frozen?
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
Oh,
it's just your camera frozen.
You're looking down like this.
Yeah, like
weird. I'm moving. I got Biscuit with me.
Damn,
boy.
Biscuit. Sorry,
Hello.
can't see you.
Hi,
Hi.
honey.
Biscuit is the curling queen, by the way.
Well, not this year. It doesn't go back till January. Am I?
No,
I'm
that's
going to turn my camera off and turn it back on.
That probably will help. And by the way, Ricky in the chat,
Hold on.
yeah, he's saying, Levi, don't get any ideas. I'm afraid I'm too far gone for that.
Can you see us now?
Yay!
There you go. Hi, Biscuit. Hi.
Hey.
There you are. It's a family affair.
She looks like Sasha Banks. She's got Sasha Banks.
She does. She does. All she needs is purple and rhinestones. You be all set, girl.
Wow.
She's the boss. She's definitely the boss indeed.
It's boss time.
Oh, I thought Jennifer was the boss. She hand over the crown?
I don't know about that now.
Oh, jeez.
Who's the boss?
Sumi.
Oh, Sumi the cat? Okay.
Tony Danza. Judith Light.
We're talking about Evolution tonight. Remember when we watched that?
Yes?
The women's pay-per-view?
Yeah, I think I remember.
It was a women's pay-per-view to watch, so you should remember it.
Technically, there was multiple.
Oh. What was your real quick? What was your biggest? What was the biggest shocking thing about this year's draft? What was the big surprise?
Seth going to SmackDown.
Seth going to really? So that's more shocking than the New Day splitting up?
Well, it's shocking too.
I mean, what are they going to do?
But
Switch between both brands.
Oh, okay.
Bounce back and forth.
There'll be a New Day in both brands. Yes.
Well, with all that story stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the show. And I figured before we get to the stats and the classic foo, I do kind of want to get something off of my chest about this show. Something about this show made me feel a little uneasy, and that's down to WWE doing this. I was talking about this with a friend of mine on Twitter yesterday, who's also a big wrestling fan. A good friend of mine named Alicia, who actually lives in Switzerland, but she's from New York. And we were talking about this. I brought up, like, throughout the night, to me, like, the marketing behind this show felt forced and unnatural to me. And it was kind of like, haven't we had a bit enough of this marketing ploy and slogan that they've been doing with this show? And she completely agreed with me. I was like, oh, thank God, because I thought I was going to get an ass chewing. That's just me, and as controversial as it might sound, I agree with CM Punk on this particular point. On that first episode he was on backstage last year, he brought up when they were asking him, like, what does he like about WWE right now, and he did bring up the women. I agree with him. The whole labeling thing needs to kind of stop. Just let them do what they do, leave them be, and not go apeshit about it. Like, perfect example of how you can make things like this feel natural. Look at China. Perfect example of someone that was able to go out there, beat up anybody in her way. And it didn't feel unnatural, and it just felt organic. True equality. Take lessons from that, from your past, WWE, please. That's just me. It's kind of a bit of a uneasy thing to talk about, but other than that, let's get into the show itself, because this is a hell of a pay-per-view. So for the statistics, well, because it's WWE Network time, no such thing as pay-per-view buys, really. If there are, it's probably like 20,000. Not really worth going into. I tried to look up the LiveGate numbers for 2018. Cannot find them. The only thing I was able to find was attendance. So the only statistic you get for Evolution 2018, other than being in Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, New York, attendance of 10,900. Compared to the rest of the shows in 2018, for the attendance, this was the lowest attended show of the year. But still, nearly 11,000, still pretty good. So, regardless, now let's get into everyone's favorite part of the show. What you got for food, Scott?
All right, we got foo all over the place. Foo. Exactly.
He had to explain foo to me.
Yeah.
Here we go.
What's
Bob
foo?
Ray.
Go ahead, Scott, explain it.
Foo, for anybody who doesn't know, if you're a horror fan and you have the Shudder app, especially this time of year, you should. And on that application, there's a show by Joe Bob Briggs. Joe Bob Briggs is the last private Joe Bob Briggs. And,
Hang on, Walt, your mic's staticking again.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying. Something's up with this.
Yeah, Ricky in the comments just said, he's the lagger now. The classic, the lagger, that's been a thing. I feel like no matter what podcast I'm doing, the lagger's always coming along. I'm cursed. I curse everything.
Jusha Thunder Lager.
Nice.
There we go.
So Joe Bob Briggs, the last drive-in, whenever he does a B movie that he shows on the show, he runs through the statistics like I do, and one of the things he does is foo, which is a fighting style. That's what the foo means. So that's where it comes from. So on this show, Evolution, from Uniondale, Long Island, New York, Nassau Coliseum, we have a kick-ass opening performance, 2 You Still Got a Chance, Mrs. Taker, 5 Hall of Famers, 1 This Is Awesome chant, 1 former Glow Girl, The Rock's mom, lots of extensions, more extensions than a hospital switchboard, by the way. 1 You Deserve It chant for Nia Jax. Think about that. What's happened in 2 years? We have Bray's baby mama, outside interference, and I am the table.
Yep.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Moves on the show. We have a top rope Hurricane Rana, Poetry in Motion, Stratisfaction Bulldog, Twist of Fate, Lead Assault, Chick Kick, 1 multi-woman suplex, 1 eclipse, 1 moonsault to the floor, 1 German suplex on the apron, 2 Tiger Drivers, aka Storm Zeros, 1 619, 1 Heart Attack Clothesline, 1 Bailey to Belly, 1 double sharpshooter that gets a huge pop, 1 Frog Splash, Karafuda Clutch, Figure 8 with a ladder, leg drop off the ladder through a table, powerbomb off the second rope through a table on the floor, and a double Piper's Pit. I believe that's what Ronda called that move.
Yep.
And for the foo, we have cane foo, chair foo, table foo, ladder foo, post foo, announce table foo, and belt foo. Oh, sorry, Vince, championship foo.
Oh, Vince.
Got 2 belts.
Unless you have 2 belts, yeah.
Then
That's
it's okay
true.
to say that.
That is very, very, very true.
Very true.
But real quick before getting into the matches, yeah, that opening performance with Nita Strauss and Lizzie Hale. Whoa, that's quite a lot for me, especially Lizzie Hale. Good God, I used to have a big crush on Lizzie Hale.
Who doesn't? Goddamn.
But anyways,
and Nita Strauss too. Goddamn.
When
Yeah.
I first
Goddamn.
saw the lights come up, I thought it was Joan Jett because of the short haircut she was
Oh, right,
sporting
yeah.
at the time.
Mhm.
But I only watched it the first time. This is only the second time I've watched
yeah,
it.
this is only the second time I saw this pay-per-view as well.
Well, I always watch the first match a couple
Yeah.
of times. That's
Right.
the one I like the best. That's the whole reason I
It's the,
sat
old,
down.
it's the old school match of the
Yes,
show.
the old school match.
And then before we get to the actual card, so we did have a dark match on this card for the NXT UK Women's Championship. Rhea Ripley beating Dakota Kai. Why they didn't put that match on the main show? I'll never know. But
Yeah.
anyways, so we got a 7-match card, or is it 7? No, it's 6-match card. 6-match card.
That's it.
Or no, it is 7. No, I could count. Anyway.
I can number.
I do numbers well. Anyways.
1, 2, 5, 3 kind.
Anyway, so we kick things off with a tag team match. We get Trish Stratus and Lita teaming together against Mickie James and Alicia Fox. Reason I did that is because, well, one of the few elephants in the room of this card. Originally, this was supposed to have been Trish and Lita versus Mickie and Alexa Bliss. But after Alexa Bliss's match with Ronda Rousey at Hell in a Cell, Alexa got injured and had to be taken off TV. Well, not taken off TV, but not be in the ring for a little while.
Yeah.
And so they put Alicia Fox in there. Now, no disrespect to Alicia Fox, but it's kind of like, why though? Like, she wasn't really doing anything at this time.
I put Alicia Fox in the same vein as the Bella Twins a little bit. She came from that John Laurinaitis, grab a girl from a lingerie catalog, regardless of her wrestling ability, regardless of her interest in wrestling, and put her on the show.
Yeah.
She was one of the last, along with the Bellas, she was one of the remaining few of that era.
era.
The Divas. Because let's be honest, a lot of those girls didn't give a shit. They were just there they were thinking that their exposure on WWE television was going to further their modeling career or their acting career or their dancing career, etc., etc. But Alicia managed to stick around, and she did the best she could. I mean, she is athletic, obviously.
A hell of a Northern Light suplex. That's what everybody gives her credit for, is a smooth Northern Light suplex.
And she did start developing this crazy character, which was pretty entertaining.
It was funny, especially the stuff with I believe it was Cedric Alexander, where she's like, "God, no one breaks up with me." That got turned into a meme by my good buddy Super Zamaga Barbecue, who used it for like donation sound.
That was like one of the first storylines Cedric was getting on television, so it was pretty important for him at the time.
And then Noam Dar takes her away. This is the beautiful Alicia Fox.
Alicia Fox.
He sounded like Bruno, Sacha Baron Cohen.
And real quick, James, We Are Pro Wrestling just said on the dark match, Rhea's UK Women's Title Tournament win hadn't aired yet, and that's why they kept it as a dark match. Okay, that makes sense.
All right, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
All right, but going back to Alicia Fox really quick, unfortunately, she was the weakest link in this match. A lot of the this was decent, but towards the end, they started having some hiccups here and there, and unfortunately, Alicia was a big part of that.
Yeah,
especially the finish towards the end when the pin was long enough to be a 3 count. The pin was long enough to be a 3 count, and she just came in there and they were like, "Where the fuck is Alicia?" And there she is. Boom! Finally.
But yeah, it's like
one thing about this match. It was the old school tag match of the show. It just we had Lita and Trish as the established old guard. Mickey was kind of there at the transition between the end of the Attitude Era into the Divas Era, I guess you want to call it. And Alicia was in there too. Remember, Alicia was
The longest.
One of the longest tenured woman in the company.
And she was introduced. She was Edge and Vicky Guerrero's wedding planner.
Yeah, and then she was with DJ Gabriel, and then she eventually got off on her own.
Yeah, so so she'd been there for a while. So that's kind of like
2007, 2008 time period.
Right. Yeah, that kind of era right there. So yeah, it was that span of 2 generations type thing, and it fills the void. It's an old school tag match. It's basic, makes the crowd happy. That's why it's first. Gets them going. So
yep. And thank God they had Mickey in this match too, because oh man, I could go on and on about the love stories I could have about my dreaming of Mickey James when I was like 12, 13 years old.
We met, Scott and I met her back when she was Alexis Lurie.
Ring of Honor, yeah, and she's short, man.
I touched her.
5'4",
I touched
yeah.
her.
I hugged her. I got to hug her.
I might have gotten a hug too. I don't know.
You got some notes on the match here.
Yeah, so far as that, like I said, Trish and Lita, they inspired me to do whatever I could in the business, in the wrestling business when I was there. So that was the whole reason I sat down to watch Evolution. I wanted to see Trish and Lita come back. And it is true, it is an old school match. It's the same stuff that we saw Trish and Lita do before. And Mickey was definitely the workhorse in the match from her team, because she had Lita's last match before she left the company. And she was Trisha's last match on Raw before her final match against Lita.
At Unforgiven that week.
Exactly. She had a lot of history with the both of them. And I thought Alicia did really well in the match. And she said that this was her honor, her career highlight, because she was going to get the opportunity to be in this match. Do I think it would have been better with Alexa Bliss hadn't she had the concussion? Yes, because it would have been that major heel heat that it needed.
Yeah,
because Bliss desperately wanted to wrestle both these women because they're the ones who inspired her to get into the business.
Yeah,
but I would say the fact that they did Hardy moves. Everyone was waiting and popped the minute Mickey and Trish finally got into the ring together.
Face-to-face moment.
And they had their face-to-face moment.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think they could have milked that too in the match a little bit better. Because Levi, stop laughing.
I'm sorry, I'm just reading. Damn it, Ricky. Yeah,
Ricky comment there.
Yeah.
I'm surprised nobody's made a V-Lick reference yet.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
But actually, one last little pet peeve about this match, particularly the Mickey Alexa team up. This always baffled my head. Like, you go back to the year prior around this time period, Mickey and Alexa are feuding against each other, and then for some reason they put them back together with no explanation. Did not make any sense for them two to be together again after that feud the year prior. So, yeah, that's just the thing.
What about there, pal? It'll be okay. Nobody will care, pal.
But that's just it, Levi. Have you noticed that when it comes to especially women in the business, they do that all the time?
Yeah. All without warning, without any explanation. Like the Bella Twins double turn they had at the end of 2014.
Brie had the best match of her career against Stephanie at SummerSlam, and Nikki screwed her over.
Yeah.
For what, 6 months? Brie was Nikki's bitch. Then all of a sudden, boom, she's her best friend, and their sisterhood is all renowned. So,
and we're like, why? And WWE's like,
they're more than happy.
It's okay. Don't worry.
It really is art imitating life. It really is.
Yep. But I think that, in my opinion, the match was really solid because it's exactly what the fans wanted to see. It was the great match to start the show off because everybody came to see the women who originally started the evolution of women's wrestling was Trish, who came in as a valet. They kept shoving that down throughout the entire...
the remainder of the Attitude Era, yeah.
Michael Cole kept shoving that down, and Lita came in as a valet as well. And then when the two of them first got to lock up during a 6-person tag, and I think it was Test and Albert
against the Hardys. And
the Hardys. That's what everybody was waiting for. Everybody was not really like, oh, great, the Hardys and them are Albert and Test are wrestling each other. No, everybody was waiting for Trish and Lita to get into the ring.
Yeah.
And that was the same thing that I would feel when I was there. Everybody was watching the men wrestle, but they couldn't wait for the women to get tagged in. Didn't matter if we rolled around or had that a couple of solid wrestling moves. The fans wanted to see the women do something. And for an entire pay-per-view where the women get to do that kind of stuff, that's not just evolutionary, it's revolutionary. It's something that for 20 years everybody wanted to see. And I thought that was my favorite match on the show.
Yeah, and like yeah.
Levi has a crush on Nikki James. The same night that Walter and Scott got to meet her backstage at
that was the Elks Lodge
the
in
Elks
Queens.
Lodge. DeMonica and I were sitting in the crowd that night watching the show.
Right.
And this is just a little quick story. During the show, Allison Danger was working ringside with, I think it was
Xavier.
Rest
Xavier.
And was he wrestling Samoa Joe?
No, it was Xavier.
No, he wrestled Paul London.
Yeah, because Paul London
It was triple three-way.
AJ, Low Key, and Paul London. Paul won it, and immediately after that, it was Xavier defending the ROH World Title against Paul London, and Allison Danger was out there. So
okay, so Allison Danger was on the floor, and they sent Xavier into her, and she
out,
crushed between the floor and is also the barricade. She just folded right into everything. And DeMonica and I are up in the balcony going, oh, we friggin' felt that from up here. So we went and visited with her kind of in a doorway after the show. I said, how you feeling, hun? And she said, looking forward to an Epsom salt bath.
Mm-hmm.
And around the corner comes Alexis Lurie / Mickey James. And Allison, because I had met her on another show, all you had to do at that time was walk up to another woman in the wrestling business and say, hey, you're on Glory Wrestling. I'm on Glory Wrestling too. And suddenly, boom, you have a friendship and you're talking to each other for at least 10 or 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another part of the sisterhood. But when I was talking to her around the corner, like I said, comes Alexis Lurie, and she introduced her as Mickey. She had such a warm, loving personality. And again, short. I'm 5'5". She barely came up to my shoulder.
Yeah.
I figured out why she wore high heels the entire time she was in TNA.
Yeah.
Because she's short. But when I saw her in a Ring of Honor match against Allison Danger, I said to him as soon as we got home, that woman is going to be in the WWE because she has that quintessential it factor that everybody's looking for. Yeah. So just the fact that I got to meet her, even just for a couple of minutes because she had to get going because she had a ride, just that wonderful personality she has. Mm-hmm. And I get so frustrated that she's not getting used right now because at least to her potential.
Yeah.
And the reason I would think, I know it was driving you crazy, Levi, that they kept putting her back with Alexis, with
Alicia Fox.
Not Alicia Fox.
With Bliss.
Bliss. I was kind of surprised when they did that in the first place, but who better to get you over as a heel than a veteran who has played that type of role to the hilt? Mm. It's just that taking the person under their wing and taking them to the next step.
Yeah, give them the rub.
Exactly, give them the rub. And I was frustrated at first because I went, Mickey should be wrestling single matches all by herself. But you needed to work her back into the crowd. I was surprised when they brought her in as a heel, though. Much after
she had that comeback match with Asuka, and then boom, she got re-signed again.
Yeah. And originally, that Asuka match was supposed to be Trish.
Yep.
But Trish was pregnant with her second kid, and so Mickey got it. So it was really good timing, though.
Go figure.
Absolutely. And I will watch anything of Mickey's, especially her TNA work, because when she came into TNA, that's when the Knockouts division caught fire.
Phenomenal.
It was absolutely.
Really
I was
good.
watching that. I wasn't watching Divas. At
Yeah,
that, I was watching the knockouts.
Yeah,
TNA
I was
for a
that same
long
way
time
too.
had
Yeah,
TNA for a long time had the best women's division for sure.
yeah.
And,
Particularly the Gail Kim Awesome Kong feud.
Awesome.
Oh
Kong
yeah,
feud. I mean,
absolutely. When Gail Kim came back,
there's a strong argument that the women's revolution actually started there
hell yeah.
before
I agree
WWE
with that
even,
already.
because it had happened on the independents 10 years prior with Shimmer and Raw,
Shimmer.
Shine,
And all of those
all
women,
these other women's
like
promotions.
Velvet and Angelina and Madison Rain,
Sarah Del Rey.
Sarah Del
Sarah Del
Rey.
Rey.
All those women that were in Shimmer or made appearances all over the indies suddenly get into TNA. You bring in Victoria and call her Tara, and you bring in Mickie James and let her go by her real name. Then you throw in ODB, and Gail Kim came back. You have a strong women's division.
Meanwhile, it's been going on for years in Japan.
True. Yep.
True that. Yes.
Much longer. Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay,
And AAA. And AAA too, yes.
Yes.
AAA. So in the forefront, we can also kind of thank the Manami Toyotas, the Bull Nakanos, and the Akira Hokutos, and Lioness Asuka, the Crush Girls. We can all kind of thank them for having this happen too, because they are, I guess you would say, indirectly responsible as well.
Yeah, because they all influence this generation, and Beth Phoenix is wearing a Bull Nakano t-shirt while she's doing commentary.
And so many of these women that are wrestling today are implementing Japanese style into their matches, not just because Asuka and Io are there.
Because they're all going there.
Because they want to work that style. And also you have Asuka and Io there. And that helps.
Toni Storm has got a very strong reputation in Japan as well.
Yes. Yeah. And you know who I miss seeing? I was so tickled when she showed up in TNA was Winter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God. What's her name, honey?
Katarina,
yep.
Yes. That was an incredible woman that they brought in during the Diva stuff. And she was Nikita on the Indies, wasn't she?
Yes.
They couldn't wait to get a hold of her. And we all went, you have her at ringside. With
she's
her
drugging
brother.
Velvet Sky.
Oh, that was with TNA, yeah.
Well, she never got a good break on any TV she had.
No.
She was with her brother, Burchill, and then on WWE TV.
Oh, God.
That whole...
Don't even bring that up, please. Oh, my Lord, that WWE... fucking Vince McMahon, what is wrong with you?
It was that era of bad writers, just like, hey, we got a great idea.
No, this was a Vince McMahon idea. Because the story going that he wanted to do the incest angle with Stephanie when she was pregnant, and then wanted Shane to do it. I just feel like he just wanted an incest angle so bad on TV that they...
I'll be good for good TV. Come on, damn it, good TV.
Leave your incestuous fantasies to porn, Vince. Anyways,
we're out time in this match. You're gonna move on, Jesus.
Yeah.
How many more stories are we gonna have that one of Rey Mysterio's kids is not his? As soon as I heard that, I walked out of the room. I had it. Seth, please go home, because when Becky's ready to pop, you need to be there.
Yeah.
I would think that that's what they're aiming for, is for him to have an injury angle to go home and be with his baby mama. That's where he should be. You should be home with her. And I'm sure that's exactly what Roman Reigns is going to tell him.
Yeah. So in the end, Trish and Lita beat Mickie and Alicia in 11 minutes 5 seconds. So moving into the next match on the card, a 20-woman... Oh, boy.
James.
Oh. I better go hide.
So too close to the truth?
Yes, James. Yes. It's a little too East Coast, though. You got to go more interior, I think.
Like Tennessee, Alabama.
Yeah,
that
Arkansas.
Vicinity. Sorry, I love you people, but good Lord, the stereotypes are so bad. But anyway.
Stereotypes are based on truth. Sorry.
But anywho. Moving on to the next match on the card.
Here in the thin area, Bill's Above movie. Find it. Buy it. It's a great movie.
Moving into the next match, a 20-woman battle royal with the winner getting a title shot of any title of their choosing. And you had a lot of people in this, including some Hall of Famers.
I wrote them all down.
We're not going to talk about them all, dude.
Well, go ahead and list them all, because I don't even remember for some reason.
Okay.
Okay, fire them off, babe.
All right. First was Naomi. She got the longest entrance because she has the longest entrance because they let her do the huge dance down.
The
to
glow.
ring.
You got to feel the glow.
Oh, man.
And you know what? Again, I was so glad she won the SmackDown Women's Championship in the not the first ever six-pack challenge, folks. That WrestleMania thing, that six-pack challenge, was not the first one. Trish Stratus was in the first one, and she won it.
Thank you.
But so Naomi came in. Then Mrs. Undertaker, Michelle McCool, who was the first ever Divas champion. I hated Lay Cool.
I hated Lay Cool too.
I like them both individually. I just didn't like the Lay Cool thing. It's like they were trying to take the beautiful people and turn them into wow.
And
wow.
and
I like to describe the Iconics as better Lay Cool.
yeah,
Yes,
and on top of that, the biggest reason I hated the Lay Cool stuff so much was because of the fucking awful Piggy James angle.
I agree.
That.
That irritated me. Do you know how many women would kill to look like Mickie James?
Exactly, and like Adam Blum, I always keep bringing up Adam Blumpier's name, but I always like bringing up Adam Blumpier's name on this show. But he did a video back when he used to work for What Culture, of like 8 times women got punished on WWE TV for something, and one of them was Piggy James, and he's like talking about how they try to make us think she was overweight, and he's like, first of all, being overweight is sort of fine. Fuck you, waistline, please. And second of all, putting a picture of Mickie James from that time period, and he's like, she's not even overweight. What is wrong with you, Vince?
Totally
they would not do that today because of body shaming.
Exactly.
Bottom line. But no, I didn't like it either. And then the next one is Sonya Deville. And you know what? I'm just going to say this. I do not blame her for going home.
No.
After everything that woman went through.
Yeah.
If she hadn't been on Total Divas, she probably wouldn't have ended up with a stalker.
Yeah.
It's just my point of view, but I don't blame her at all for going home, and I certainly wish her the best, and I hope she comes back. Alundra Blaze. You can't have an Evolution pay-per-view without having Alundra Blaze in it.
Yeah.
I still call her Medusa.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry. That's because I was watching her in WCW. Carmella. I'm really glad she went back to blonde.
Yeah.
Zelina Vega. Another from TNA. A lot of people might not know her, but you guys probably do.
Rosita.
Who's shorter than Mickie James?
Yeah.
She's
4'10", 4'11", something like that.
At M3, she was Atticus and Mariska, who weren't even 13 at that point, were taller than her.
And happily married to yet another professional wrestler. Let's see. Zelina. Kelly. Why? just that. Why? Tamina. So underused.
Yeah.
I love Tamina. She's a freaking force.
She gets hurt, though. I think that's
she's kind of like the female hardcore Holly, sadly.
But she can work.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Great kick. I like her kick.
Despite the fact that she did knock Nikki Bella's tooth out with a kick once.
Very Haku-esque.
Nikki Bella deserves it. Amber Moon. Lana. And at that point, they were trying to do the ill-fated Emelina
gimmick with Lana.
which I guess now Carmella might be doing it, but Carmella could probably make it work. Then Maria Kanellis, post-baby. And Mandy Rose. Molly Holly, Hall of Famer. I wrote Hall of Fame, put her in the Hall of Fame already.
Yeah.
Dana Brooke. Again, another one who I think gets a little underused. Because there are times...
She's got a great look.
Yeah.
She's got a great look.
She's athletic, but like...
Everybody can have a botch. Everybody can have a botch. But...
They haven't found a niche for it.
They haven't found a niche for it. I'm thinking her and Mandy together would be the niche.
That was kind of the idea.
Because they're really good bodybuilding and everything. So, let's see. Nia Jax. That's what we were just talking about, the whole Piggy James thing. Nia Jax is body positive. That's why I prefer her as a babyface.
Right.
When you have her as a heel, she's a great heel. But when you have her as a babyface, it's like Ashley Graham on the front cover of the Sports Illustrated. Body positivity for the big girls out there.
Mhm.
That means you're not alone. It's okay to be this. Ivory, Hall of Famer. I love Ivory.
I was always an Ivory
Oh, girl.
person. I was always an Ivory fan.
If they hadn't canceled the fact that they were going to do season 4, she should have been making an appearance in season 4 because she's the one that everybody remembers.
Yep.
And Asuka,
Mhm.
Tori Wilson, glad she was there.
Mhm.
The Iconics with a Lake Cool promo.
Yeah. And that's it. That's everybody in the battle
That's
royal.
it.
gotta be joking me!
You all talk really weird. You look, get that out. Get that check.
Hey, Kayla! Billy Kay's so funny. I'm gonna keep saying it forever. That moment when she says, "You gotta be joking me," and then paid Royce Brick's character to laugh because it was just so out of nowhere. Oh.
Joking me.
And thanks, Super's Oh My God Barbecue, for putting that in my head when you made that a subscriber notification sound. You gotta be joking me. I'm like, where did that come from? But anyway, so with this Battle Royal, standard Battle Royal. However, some cool moments like Ivory doing a lot. Hell, she almost made it to the end of this match.
Yeah.
Which was
Damn
really,
close,
really
yeah.
cool.
She
And then
wasn't in the Royal Rumble, so I think that's why they had her in there as long as they did.
Right.
Which,
yeah, to make
makes
up for
sense.
that.
Make up for lost time.
yeah, when she wrestled full time, she was a general.
Mhm.
It was her and Jack.
So she had to teach like Tori Wilson and Stacy Keibler and all the girls that came from WCW how you're supposed to do it here.
And she was a trainer on top of that.
And she would get shit for it. She would get them in the ring on live television and like push them to like do something, and they wouldn't, or they'd freeze. And then they go in the back. They wouldn't yell at Stacy or Tori. They yell at Ivory. That wasn't what we wanted you to do. She's like, I'm trying to get these girls ready. I'm trying to get them out of their shells, get them prepared for more better opportunities down the line.
Ivory was a teacher.
Because she
still
cared
is,
about the business.
exactly.
Yeah.
But her dance break,
That was
Carmella-
funny. That was funny.
Oh, and to mention also in this match, there is a moment where you have Tamina and Nia face off, and they do the Roman ooh-ah, because 6 days prior is when Roman announces his leukemia.
Yeah.
That's to
And
relinquish.
they cleaned house.
Yep, clean house on everybody. Lana misses her cue because it's
They had to redo it.
yes, exactly. Lana steps in too soon, like not here, not here. Then they come together again, and boom, there she is.
Yeah.
Like, hard slap to Tamina's face too.
Yeah.
2 years
to-
ago, Lana was screwing up more frequently, but
Right.
now that she's tag teaming with Natty, you have to be up to that par of keeping up
Yep.
with Natty.
Yeah. Then again, I
Tamina
don't.
Tamina could be Bad Luck Fale. Give her like a Bad Luck Fale type character.
Yeah.
I think that would go over great for
Yeah.
her.
Then again, for me, I don't care what they do with Lana. I can't stand Lana personally.
Hey, Lana is
she
the best.
used to be.
Lana's
She
number
used
one.
to be hot. Now I'm just like,
Lana is the best.
And-
Lana's number one.
And after that angle they did with her and Lashley and Rusev, completely turned me off Lana. I'm like, fuck this. I'm done with her.
Hey, back on to Tamina. What do you think about putting her with Roman Reigns as like a female aspect?
That
Bad
would be
Luck Fale,
good.
like
That
an
would be good.
underboss.
Yeah, like a bodyguard type of character.
That
Because
would be good.
Paul Heyman is not going to put himself in front of danger.
No.
Nope.
Tamina would. And there's still the bloodline there.
Right.
Yep.
Mhm.
There you go.
I think that'd be bad. That'd be
Hell
good.
in a Cell is going to be fucking great now. I'm telling you now.
Who is? What is?
Hell in a Cell is going to be fucking great
Oh,
now.
First time
Yeah,
doing an
holy
I Quit
shit.
stipulation in a Hell in a Cell match. It's about time.
We're in for a
I
bloodbath,
might.
I'm telling you that.
I mean, I might not watch the whole show, but I might watch that match just to see how it goes.
I think
That's
I think
intriguing.
Reigns and Roman from the event they had pay-per-view was phenomenal. It's great storytelling.
God, I bet you Moxley, in the corner of his mind, wishes he was back right now. Because imagine the matches those two would be having.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And speaking of like Roman and Mox, that reminds me, I need to send you a video, Scott, to react to at some point. But I'll talk more about that after the show.
Gotcha.
I
But
can see Moxley backstage going like to Tony, "Hey, are we ever going to get Joe in over here? Or I got to wrestle this guy again." He points at Joey Janela.
yeah, I feel for Knox if he's feeling like, why am I wrestling the same guys over and over? Let me work with different people.
Yep.
But then you get to the final four, which was Nia, Asuka, Tamina, and Ember Moon. Interesting final four. Asuka gets eliminated first by Ember to kind of get more of the rub on Ember, and then Tamina gone, and then it's the final two of Nia and Ember. I was convinced at this time that Ember Moon was going to win because I thought they were going to accelerate her towards... I was thinking more towards the SmackDown Women's Championship at the time. Or maybe no, I think she was on Raw at this point, right? Yeah, she was on Raw at this time.
Raw, yeah. She was brought in as Nia's mystery tag partner, I think.
Yeah, after WrestleMania 34, I think. Yeah, it would have had to have been.
After she lost the NXT Women's Championship to Shayna
To Shayna, yeah. So, and then...
up anymore.
It's moving laterally.
Yeah, it's just you're just going either left, right, or straight in the middle.
Yep.
But in the end, Nia Jax picks up the win in 16 minutes, 10 seconds, and she announces she's going to challenge for the Raw Women's Championship. Who that is, we'll find out towards the end.
And you notice I did mention this in the Foo. There's one "You deserve it" chant, or you deserve it, and Nia was getting it, and it would be a couple of months later where the accident would happen with Becky, and then all of a sudden Nia's dangerous. Why does she have a job? Why is she there? She shouldn't be there anymore. Blah blah blah.
I mean, I know I have said my piece about Nia. I was one of those people at the time, but more so just when you look at what's happened. Yeah, the punch on Becky, but even beforehand, like almost injuring Charlotte. And I think she injured Bayley, I think. And then Kyrie, that was when people, and I was kind of one of them, like, Nia, can you not hurt people like that again? Because that'd be like 4 or 5 people.
It's not ballet.
She's not. I mean, now Rose hurts everybody in every match she's in. So
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not nearly as harsh on Nia now, considering what they're doing with her now with Shayna is kind of funny to some extent.
It's good. It's great.
Yeah,
it's
they're having
fantastic.
fun.
Yeah. But
it's happening in Costello.
But yeah.
Yep.
I also
taking
want
two,
to
taking two badasses and adding comedic elements to it. It's fun.
When Maria was in that match, I wanted to bring up that Maria did a shoot interview that you and I were watching. It was one of those sending questions.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what the name of the shoot is.
I remember.
Was it
kayfabe commentaries?
Thank you, Levi. Kayfabe commentaries. And she said back in the Divas time, they were given 3 minutes, and that was pretty much from ring entrance to final bell. And the only thing the girls had was sparkly outfits, and let's go out there and do this. But when they had a meeting with the makers that were going to be doing the dolls and everything, Maria was the only one who raised her hand and said, "What about the women? Do women get to have dolls?" "Oh, no, I guess they don't have a Beth Phoenix. I guess I'll get an Edge doll or something like this." And why not give the women our own hour of show on main event since you're only giving us 3 minutes? Maria was one of the first ones that spoke out about what was going on at the time. So I'm sure what's happening now, which is a lot of the women's dolls are outselling some of the men's dolls now.
Becky Lynch, Charlotte,
Charlotte, Sasha, Bayley, they became what the women that were in that Divas era who were stuck doing pillow fights, and 30 of them sent down to the ring for battle royals, which made people want to be drinking by the end of it because it was sloppy. And it's not necessarily that you can't blame the women all the time. You have an agent telling you this is what you do this.
It would be my fault.
Yes. Why don't you go out there and whistle 3 minutes? I'll be back here fast. We have to tell them.
Hey, yeah.
Exactly.
So in a way, we can thank Maria Kanellis for stepping up and speaking out. You know, for the women. You know, another one I met indirectly.
Yep. They let her go past you at Disney World.
Yes. Yeah, Maria Kanellis and Mike Bennett were behind me in my family at Disney, and Maria just they had the baby, and she was pregnant, and my wife stopped and said, "You guys can go ahead. You guys got more going on than we do," and they were very thankful and gracious. And we just they were so plain and normal looking that we didn't think about it. And when we got back to the hotel, my daughter's like, "Dad, you know that was Maria Kanellis and Mike Bennett that was behind us."
Oh,
And she holds up, lo and behold, Maria's Instagram, and it was them. Yeah, we're like, oh my god. But they were nice. They were very appreciative and thankful. And Maria played with Jennifer's hair. She goes, "Oh, I love your hair." As she walked by.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
Right.
everyone loves playing with Jen's hair. Celebrities. Eric Roberts.
Yeah, she does.
Yes, she does.
There you go.
But
Next
yeah.
up.
Moving on to the next match, we get the finals of the 2018 Mae Young Classic. Kudos to WWE for finally putting together a tournament like this, even though we know Vince hates tournaments. Thank God this was a Triple H thing.
Yeah.
And the finals here, a hell of a final between Toni Storm and Io Shirai. And I love how they did the promo package for this match, building up Toni being in the tournament the year prior and making it to the semifinals, I think.
Semifinals.
And I forgot who she lost to. I think it was Kyrie.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Yeah,
I think it was Kyrie, yeah. And
That's
now...
like Yep.
Yeah, and then we get to this match here, and I've got to tell you, Toni Storm, in my opinion, is so underrated. I think she's really, really good.
Amen.
And thank God they're finally using her again. Thank God they're
She
finally
reminds me of
using her.
Jericho.
Yeah, I buy that.
Yeah, with the
Anyone
rock
who's
and roll
watching
persona.
Fix?
Yep.
I
Definitely.
But, yeah, really, really good final. And while it was a very short match, it didn't feel that short to me. Like 10 minutes, and it felt like they did everything they could. And Io Shirai showing why she's one of the best things going about the NXT women's division with...
Oh, she's incredible.
I can't believe how she can nail a perfect moonsault like that. If you ask me, better moonsault than Lita.
Yep.
But a better
Yes.
moonsault than Charlotte?
Yes.
Charlotte is, here's the thing, Io is Muda. Charlotte is Kobashi when it comes to the moonsault.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Actually, Charlotte's, Kobashi, which is also like Angle.
Yes.
To,
Yeah.
I told
moonsault.
him, I said, do we want to count how many moonsaults are in this? And he went, oh, good
No,
lord.
no.
When you say Io hits that moonsault, it's very like it's not like she's looking for elevation. It's compact. It's boom. It's flat. It's she's looking for impact. Where in the Kobashi moonsault with this Angle and Charlotte, there's elevation. It's a little slower. The arch is a little more deeper. You know, it's you can appreciate it more as it's coming down. Muda's is a thing of beauty, but Muda's is bam. Like, you know, he's meaning to break your ribs with it.
Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah.
a because for him, so you got to really put over. And this has the match. Has the freaking German soup
On the
suplex.
apron, yeah. Which I can't believe they
Not
actually
the
did
apron
that.
bumps. Oh, I hate that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, motherfuckers, you're doing fucking apron bumps again. God. You know, if you're going to slam yourself on fucking furniture, there are, places where you can do that.
But in the end, after...
All the women always are the ones that are really good because you're light
Right.
and you can
can
figure.
float.
Have I ever done a moonsault?
No.
But I do like watching the women do it to see which one's going to do it differently
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
who's going to do it differently.
A big thing with Toni Storm too is she's got the facials down.
Mhm.
She can really tell.
Oh,
the-
yeah.
Like, especially in this match, it was like every time Io kicks out, you see the doubt in Tony's eyes, and she just sells it. That makes you instantly connect to her character and get her over. And that's a
Facial
nice-
go- her and Tessa Blanchard are the only two, in my opinion, have it down perfectly.
Yep. And this was 20. She was 22 years old at the time,
Yeah.
so she's 24 now. Just barely getting to her prime. So if things keep going good with Toni coming back to NXT now, she could be seeing a huge uptick for her career now.
And
we heard them-
reigniting the feud with Io that started here.
Right.
Which is
And
nice.
Been signed to NXT UK,
Mhm.
and after she won, they gave her the option to go wherever she wanted. If she wanted to go someplace else, she said, "No, I'm going to stay with UK." Maybe things would be different if she hadn't stayed with UK because of COVID. She couldn't do anything.
Right.
If she had stayed, if she had decided to say, "No, I'm going to do the American NXT," we would have seen a lot more from her.
Yeah.
Because Rhea got brought over from UK
Yeah.
and became
the star.
She
at that
became
time.
the Charlotte
until she hit the Charlotte Flair wall.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yep.
But then also, my only complaint about the match, and I know this sounds absolutely ridiculous probably to some people, but after being in locker rooms, we would walk into a locker room, and red and black is always the color a lot of people like to wear.
Mhm.
I walked into the locker room, I looked at him, and I looked at the booker of the company, and I said, Wolfpack is broken. We don't need another Wolfpack. I mean, I know Walter wore red and black. That was fine then, but we're talking about 2005, and you know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Wearing red and black. I said, guys, look at the rainbow. There are a lot of colors in it.
Yeah, there's more colors than red and black, guys.
And or at least go to the paint store, get a couple of tile things.
Something.
There are so many colors out there. So the fact that
The
EO
red and black looks the
were both wearing
best.
red and black, that was the only thing that was driving me crazy. I know probably sounds ridiculous to other fans out there, but to my mind's eye, I went, ugh. That's
Well, we were just watching, wasn't it just on NXT television? It was that tag match, or it was on Raw or something. There was a women's tag match, and 3 out of 4 of them were wearing like black leather pants.
Yeah. Oh, and then on the Mandy and
Yeah, it was
Dana and Natty and Lana, they were all wearing black and pink.
Gets ridiculous.
So that would be my main thing. It's like, all right, Sasha Banks has a husband who does all of her clothes.
Mhm.
There's got to be somebody else doing it down in NXT. Try to look a little different. And I think that, the moonsault to the floor, the crowd was kind of quiet during the match. They were watching it and enjoying it. But as soon as EO did the moonsault to the floor,
That's when they kicked in.
popped in. And look at how different EO looks in 2 years.
Way better theme music, by the way.
Better theme music. I'm sure Triple H said, I want you to take the mask off. We're going to turn you heel. And I'm a woman. When EO walks down to the ring, sex pot. She looks hot.
Yeah.
And he doesn't mind me saying that because that means he can say it.
Because she knows, she's my future ex-wife.
Oh,
Okay, honey, you have
Lord.
permission to marry her if something, God forbid, happens to me.
But she loves evil. Anyway, what was the what was the name? What was the faction, Walter, in Stardom? It was EO, Asuka, and who? Wasn't that the group?
No.
Or was
Hold
it EO, Kyrie, and somebody?
Hold on. Let me look.
If only my friend Jessica was here, she'd probably answer that.
Yeah.
Ooh, somebody have Nia and Shayna Baszler go down to NXT and Asuka shows up. Asuka and EO wrestle them and take the tag titles.
That'd be nice.
Ooh.
That way they'd be NXT and See, I do know what I'm doing.
Yep. Who she lived with.
Oh, don't take credit for my genius.
Might as well. I take credit for everything else.
I know.
But
she teamed with her sister Mio Shirai. She teamed with her sister Mio Shirai. Oh, it was Asuka. It was Asuka and her sister. They were called Triple Tails. Triple Tails.
Okay.
I didn't get it. One thing I wanted was Io, Asuka, and
Kyrie
having a 3-on-3.
Yeah.
I didn't get. I do feel bad that Kyrie left, but there's a reason.
Walt and I know Walt and I talked about, man, I'd love to be in the locker room to see Io, Kyrie, and Asuka just having a conversation. Just a lot of giggling.
A lot of giggling, a lot of loud yelling. So.
Yeah.
Kyrie may have left, but she's still with the company. I think she's trying to get things going in Japan now with this. I think she's trying to help with the NXT Japan that they've been talking about for quite some time.
That would be good.
That makes sense.
That would
Yeah. From what I heard, they were trying to get Gato to do it, but Gato's still with New Japan. So,
right.
I guess Kyrie is going to be one of the people spearheading it.
And they got
Nakamura, I guess he doesn't want to do it because he likes the surfing in America.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
Yeah.
The whole reason I know that Levi just enjoyed the Mae Young Classic, and I enjoyed it too because it gave women that another goal.
Yes.
To do something. But he ended up signing at least, I would say, half of them. Not necessarily from each show, but at least half of the women that performed on Mae Young Classic got signed. Mercedes Martinez getting signed, hell, that should have happened at least 5 years
ago.
earlier.
Absolutely.
I actually emailed her once to try to coincide with the booking. Because of Lexi Phi, I was able to get in touch with more women. So I got in touch with her to cover a pullout, and she already was booked that weekend. I wished I had gotten to book Mercedes Martinez
cool.
because she.
As we said before, Mercedes Martinez is one of the reasons why Bobby Ocean's a badass, because she helped formulate that. She helped condition Bobby into becoming the badass we all know and love.
So yeah, with the Mae Young Classic, if Triple H and Stephanie did not have 3 daughters, there may not have been a Mae Young Classic because having 3 daughters and their daughters are sitting at home going, Dad, how come there's not more women's wrestling? You're going to listen to your kids.
Well, I gotta talk to Grandpa.
And we already know what Grandpa's going to say.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, Daddy.
Are you going to do it down at the Performance Center? Yeah. Sure, pal.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Because the women's matches got 1,000 times better because of what Triple H did.
They did. And also that Mae Young Classic revived careers. I mean, Serena Deeb, that revived her, brought her back. And she is now, finally, AEW's got a respectable veteran in that locker room for the women's division who can help craft it and improve it.
Great lady.
Yeah.
Yep.
Serena Deeb kind of reminds me of Ivory in that sense. That status.
And out of the that year's Mae Young Classic, the one person that I saw in the tournament that I wish they would have signed was Allison Kay.
Oh God, she's great. Yeah.
I wish they would have signed her.
Yeah, it's no disrespect. There were so many of them. I'm showing the picture.
Yeah.
Wait,
she was in the first round. Yeah. Yeah, she faced Mia Yim in the first round.
Yeah, and they had a great match.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm glad they signed Mia Yim too. I mean,
thank God they signed Mia Yim. She's awesome.
And I'm probably going to get heat for this, but it was before everything happened, mind you. I wish they'd signed Tessa Blanchard.
I agree. No, I'm with you 100%.
Because she was in the first one, I don't think she was in the second one. When she was in that first one, she was only in the business for a year. The match I always wanted to see, again, this is before January of this year when the shit hit the fan. I wanted to see Tessa Blanchard versus Charlotte Flair. You want
I
to
think
see
that's everybody's dream right there.
I think it'll still happen.
There's potential.
I can not only see Tessa being signed, I can see Vince and Nature Boy giving Tully a call saying, "Hey, you want to come over? You know, stop playing with kids down in Tampa and come over here with us." Or
Stop wasting your time with fucking Sean Spears.
Yeah,
because
Tessa
Blanchard is an incredibly talented woman.
Very, very talented. Despite the negative press and things that went down with her, you cannot deny her in-ring abilities.
Yeah, that's what that gold game. I just want to see her versus Charlotte or her and Charlotte tag team. You know, so okay, had to say that.
One more quick thing before moving on. Another girl I can see getting signed is from NWA. There, Magnus is a girl, Camille. The bodyguard, the muscular bodyguard on NWA Power. Yeah, I mean, you look at her; she looks like somebody that Vince will definitely sign. But the problem is, her current husband, is Charlotte's ex-husband. So,
Bram.
Yeah.
Bram.
Yeah, might be a problem there.
Notice he married a more muscular Charlotte.
Oh God.
Yeah.
But,
we'll get to that later on.
But anyways, moving on to the midpoint of the show, we get a 6-woman tag match. The Riot Squad, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan versus Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Natalya. Good 6-woman tag. Nothing to really set the world on fire, but you could tell they were building towards... they were still going on with this feud with Ruby Riott and Natalya that would culminate at TLC at the end of the year in that tables match.
Right, with her dad on it.
Yeah.
Jim Neidhart on the table.
I do hate it when they bring family into it.
Yeah.
I really don't like that kind of crap.
Yeah.
Wind just picked up here.
And also with this one is, this is like one of the high points for the Riot Squad as a faction. Because they are on point with their quick tags. It's very lucha style.
No mistakes.
They're in, and once one's in, blind tag, do a move, do another move, blah blah blah. So it's real quick. There's 2 hot tags in the match, or you can, as we used to say, a lukewarm tag and a hot tag, and then So you keep that going. It's fast paced. It keeps going. I love the outfits that the Riot Squad wore. The little horror tributes there. That was cool. And it was a funny moment when Beth Phoenix is watching Sarah Logan in the ring. Remember, this was only 2 years ago, and you hear Beth say, "I can't wait to see where Sarah Logan's career goes."
Yep.
Where it unfortunately went. So if you guys agree with
And
me.
it's amazing to think the
was
support.
Ruby Riott getting injured.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ruby Riott got injured.
That's what
That
things
kind of
went
left
down,
Liv
you know.
and Sarah kind of without.
anything.
Right.
And then they
I mean,
try
it's about
and
getting called up and finding out Ruby and Sarah and Liv all get called up, but they're not told they're going to be a team until pretty much they get to the building.
that day.
yeah.
But
And
you never
then
would-
yeah, and then after Ruby gets hurt, then they decide to try and make Liv Morgan a lesbian for some reason for Lana and that stupid storyline.
And
And
then Sarah, she improves her body. She slims down. She gets in better shape.
only to be let go, even though
Yeah.
pretty much the entire women's locker room were trying to go to back for her and trying to get them to keep her.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't work, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
And plus,
When-
she's married to frickin' Eric from the War Raiders, Viking Raiders, War Machine, whatever the hell you want to call them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
when she
Not
was
the Viking
in,
experience, fuck that.
when she was in the first Mae Young Classic, I told him as soon as she came down to the ring, I said, "That girl's got something special."
Yeah.
I
She was
think
different.
she's different. It was the Daisy Dukes, the Kentucky vibe, the
Yeah.
Southern vibe. I thought she's going to be
Bordered to my
something.
state.
Right there.
Hell,
She-
just right
I knew
across
she-
the river, which is only just a little bit of ways. You're in
There
Kentucky.
you go. I knew she was going to be something special, but it's just she wasn't. There was something going on where either she wasn't dressed right for the crowd's taste. She could work. That wasn't the problem. There was just something that the crowd didn't latch onto, or Vince didn't see something.
She wasn't getting over. Once she went solo, they tried.
Yeah.
They put her on TV, but the crowd, when we had crowds,
She
They
had
just
a
weren't
match
buying
with
it.
Charlotte that was
so
incredible.
if they had sent her back to NXT, might have been a benefit for her. But instead of that, send you out of here. She might come back. Who knows? Time will
Maybe.
tell. Never.
Maybe next year.
It's always a possibility. But I like this match. It was good. It got everybody in there. Got their quick tags in there and everything, and crowd was loving it. It's funny to see Bayley doing the old gimmick nowadays.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, Billy was so good of a babyface that I was kind of disappointed when they finally turned her heel. But now I don't want her going back to being a babyface ever again because she's so good at it.
Yeah.
She's so good at the current character is fantastic. And that was the thing with Dakota Kai. I'm like, Dakota Kai is the last true babyface left, and boom, they turn her heel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, keep her where she is now because she's so good at that too.
Yeah.
And I told him my only disappointment in that match is that Sasha is fantastic. As far as I'm concerned, Sasha is not just legit boss. She's a star. She's very good at what she does, and she enjoys every part of the wrestling business. Yes, she took time off. Everybody deserves to take that time
Yeah,
off,
she needed a break.
especially if you're in a dark place.
And I know
Should be
I
able-
can attest to this because last year, I feel like I did like 3 or 4 videos about Sasha and how people were just hounding her to no end, and it was
And that doesn't help.
For nothing.
No.
and I'm thinking
they-
now I don't blame her for taking the time off because of them fucks.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, I
it's
get it. A
time-
lot of people were drawn to Paige, and it sucks
yeah.
that Paige got hurt from that
Yes.
botch kick. But
And again, everybody
I
has
hate
botching,
talking about
but it's
something.
nobody's fault. You are putting your life on the risk the minute you walk through those ropes.
Yeah,
So she took heat from that. She was in a bad place. Now she's back. I am so glad they finally switched and turned babyface because I told him I'm really sick and tired of this lay cool return, except it's in Bayley and Sasha coming down to the ring constantly annoying the crap out of everybody. I knew it was just a time
Yeah.
when Sasha would turn babyface because the SmackDown title is the only title she hasn't held.
hmm
So I do want to see that. I told him that's the one I want to see. I want to see Sasha Banks. And she was on the indie scene back when we were working.
Right. Mhm.
And Bobby Ocean knows her.
Mhm.
So to see old photos of her and then see what she is now, it's amazing to see
Night
the
and day.
difference. Yes. Yes, absolutely. She's got a great husband by her side, so that helps.
Yeah, and hopefully, if the direction they're heading with Sasha right now, that she takes the belt off Bayley, let her do that, and let her WWE let her have the belt for more than fucking 4 weeks. Please.
There is that factor too.
Well, you're leaving that title on Bayley for 500 plus days.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't get our hopes up that she's going to take that title before WrestleMania next year.
Who knows?
Because I mean,
they're just getting started. So
yeah, if they're just getting started, Sasha's already been in a Hell in the Cell with Charlotte
And Becky.
and Becky. That's right. Oh, thank you. I forgot about that. And oh yeah, the one with Becky and Sasha. You and I watched it, and I said that's got Abyss fingerprints all over it.
Yeah, Chris Park had to be the agent.
He had to be the agent on that because it was exactly like something he would do.
Yeah, the seated in the suspending her in the corner with the cane in front of her, so she was trapped, and then hitting her and stuff. That's like so Abyss.
Oh yeah. We both went, Abyss booked this. There's no way he didn't. But yeah, so out of the 4 horsewomen in that sense, Sasha and Bayley are the only 2 horsewomen standing right now. You've got one at home,
And one
expecting.
injured.
I did the calculations. He's expecting next month,
Yep.
and another one taking time off. No disrespect, having surgery.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
So
All right,
in the
back
end,
in your hands, Levi.
So in the end, Sasha, Bayley, and Natalya beat the Riot Squad in 13 minutes 10 seconds. Moving on to the next match, NXT Women's Championship match, which is quite refreshing. Champion Kairi Sane defending against Shayna Baszler. Another great promo package going back to the Mae Young Classic the year prior when Kairi beat Shayna, and then you had Shayna beat Kairi for the NXT Women's title back at New Orleans. Then Kairi gets the belt back or gets the belt from Shayna, and now we get the final encounter here, and boy, this is a great match. I don't think there's ever been a bad Kairi Shayna match.
No,
And
not at all.
It's like these two were like made for each other. It seems.
Great chemistry. Great, fantastic chemistry. Great
And I love
Baby Hayes. Baby Hayes.
Baby Hayes.
Baby Hayes. Hashtag Baby Hayes.
Baby Hayes. But
Baby
Yeah.
Chase.
one thing I really liked about this match was involving Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir to kind of begin sowing the seeds of
Yeah.
maybe it might still happen someday. The 4 horsewomen of WWE versus the 4 horsewomen of MMA. That is if Ronda decides to come
If
back.
they do that, there's going to be a long ways away now. But
Got a long ways away now. Lots changed. Lots happened.
I think they wanted it to happen at Survivor Series when Shayna Baszler and the 2 girls were just coming up into it and training.
right.
But at that point, Ronda hit her stride.
Right.
So there was
Jessamine's never been really ready. Nothing.
Unfortunately, they used Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir. No disrespect to them; they're both tough girls, but they basically became the Patterson and Briscoe of
To Shayna,
to Shayna.
Yeah, because you didn't really see them in matches very often.
And when you did, they just got beat up.
Yeah.
They just never really clicked.
last we saw, they're on the WWE Underground, the Fight Club thing that they
The
show
Raw
up on every time.
Underground, yeah.
It's married to Roderick Strong.
Yeah, the one who's married to Roderick Strong did some mixed tag matches with her husband on house shows. I saw
That was about it.
some footage, but no, they're good athletic women. They just didn't have time to get their
Their feet wet in the ring.
They still need seasoning. They still need seasoning.
factor in them, and it's of course now they probably can't train at all because of the coronavirus. A lot of people's training schedules went, no, you're just going to run on a treadmill at home.
That's one thing about this whole coronavirus thing for the roster. A lot of people getting in really good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, Heath Slater, Roman looks better than he's ever looked.
What's the lady from China?
Xia
Yeah.
Li.
Xia Li.
Xia Li. My God!
Mm-hmm.
Wow, what
Yeah.
a transformation!
Yep.
Yeah. But in the end, Shayna Baszler beats Kairi Sane to become the first 2-time NXT Women's Champion in 12 minutes 10 seconds. Then beginning what felt like an eternity with her as champion.
Oh yeah.
Thank God they let Rhea Ripley take it off her.
One thing about Shayna, she was having solid matches with everyone.
Yeah. Now we get to the penultimate match of the night, and in my opinion, should have been the main event. The last woman standing match for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Didn't I say that today?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Becky
I
Lynch
did.
versus Charlotte Flair. Another fantastic promo package. One flaw, as much as I love this match, the one flaw in this, how they were setting up the story. Like going back to SummerSlam, you had that triple threat with Becky, Charlotte, and Carmella. And when they tried to turn Becky heel by attacking Charlotte, there was no chance in hell the fans were going to buy into Becky being heel. Because they, like myself included, was wanting Becky so bad to get her moment. Like, yeah, she kind of had that moment, becoming the first SmackDown Women's Champion, but they didn't really do a whole lot with her until dropping it to Alexa. And it's like and also one of the reasons why people like me love her is because of how she is outside of the ring, being such a sweetheart of a human being.
Yep.
And
she's different in the ring. She's great outside the ring. And people were getting sick of Charlotte.
Yeah, people were like, yeah, we're a bit tired of Charlotte. How about someone else? And
like you said, they tried to do a heel turn.
And it just wasn't gonna happen.
Charlotte, whole crowd goes apeshit for her. Like, yes, finally we got her. Yeah. We can have Becky now.
And if only the WWE had the benefit of hindsight at that moment, what they should have done with Becky was not do the "I'm tired of you people" shtick, because that was not going to work. You should have done with Becky what they should have done with John Cena years ago. Not have her turn full on heel, but be more anti-hero. They should have done that with Cena by just having him go out there and just say simple words, saying, "For those of you who support me, I will fight for you, and for those who hate me, you can all kiss my ass." That's all they needed to do to John Cena to kind of give something different to him back then. Was just say that, not turn him heel, but just let him lash out at the haters while still embracing the love. That's what they should have done with Becky. Not so much bashing the fans, but being more, I'll fight for you, but I'm going to kick everyone's ass until I take what's rightfully mine. And that's the SmackDown Women's title. And do what they did with Charlotte. Just beat her up and say, "You bitch," because that was awesome. And then for a bit there before this match, they tried to do the whole thing of like, they're both neither good or bad. They're gray area, and that didn't really work either. Because you might as well have just embraced Charlotte as the full-on heel. Even though when you see in this match, they tried to make Charlotte the babyface and Becky the heel, was not going to happen. Was just not going to happen.
We weren't going to buy that shit.
And then eventually, after Nia Jax's botched punch, that's when fans was like, "Fuck yeah!" And then WWE finally was like, "You know what? Let's relent. Turn her full on babyface. Make her the female Stone Cold Steve Austin. Just do it."
When we were watching it, I told him, "All right, it started at SummerSlam, and that match, it was a phenomenal match. I mean, it was ECW with good women's wrestling. It was a brawl that everybody wanted to see with the two top women in the company. Charlotte sold like her father, and when Becky kept trying to be the heel, doing all those stunts, I flashed back to when Stone Cold tried to turn heel, and the crowd was still popping for him. And he beat up Lita. Crowd was still popping for him.
Yeah.
So, yes, I agree. They should have just said, you know what? She's already calling herself the man. People are chanting and screaming her name. And yes, it was Nia Jax punching her in the face, and that was less than a month later because it was Survivor
Series.
When Nia punched her in the face, again, a mistake. When she punched her in the face,
blasted her face, blasted her nose,
and everywhere. That visual of her with the bloody face standing in the crowd, like, "Look at me now!"
Right there, also the Austin connotation there with the blooding from
Mania
the
13.
Yeah,
and Nia had to turn heel, and Becky had to cash in to give up her title match. Well, it wasn't a title match.
No, it would have been her and Ronda.
Cross promotional match. Yeah.
Becky versus Ronda, and she had to give it to Charlotte Flair. Didn't that kind of defeat the entire purpose of this match we just watched? Because she had to give it up to the one person who was...
Yeah.
she hated.
Well, you added to the story.
Exactly,
that led
because
to the WrestleMania match.
what ends up leading to is WrestleMania, because Charlotte ends up going in as a heel, because it wasn't her and Ronda ended up. Charlotte went nuts in the match against Ronda at Survivor Series.
It did the Pillmanizer to her neck.
Yeah. And at the end of the match, everybody at the end of the year, people started booing Ronda.
Yeah. Yes.
So Vince had to do some fancy footwork.
If I say so.
Let's do this a different way. Ronda, heel. Charlotte, you're coming in a helicopter and you're going to be a heel. And Becky, you get a modest, normal entrance and you are going to get the biggest reaction of the entire night.
Which was just like you made the analogy to.
Charlotte, Ronda, and Becky was like Batista, Triple H, and Daniel Bryan.
Randy Orton.
No, you told me it was
Batista.
Orton, Batista, Bryan.
It wasn't Triple H?
No. He wrestled Triple H in the first match of the night. Daniel did.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I was there for that.
I was paying attention, really. I was paying attention to the women's matches.
Right.
But real quick before continuing, I do got to open up this can of worms now. Now that Michelle, that you brought up that Mania 35 triple threat. Oh, WWE, how you made that whole thing so fucking complicated. You could have just done a simple formula. Becky win the Rumble, Becky versus Ronda. You did not have to have Charlotte in it and make everything feel like... It was like, we're getting a good lemonade recipe that's simple, and it's the best recipe ever, and we're chanting, we want lemonade! Only to fuck up the recipe and put an apple in it, and then pour it out. First time ever! Thank you, Alan Blampier, for going insane about that, because, yeah, I'm with him. That should have just been Ronda versus Becky.
And I've heard that argument, too. Coming from the other side of it, I always say, okay, you have the biggest match you can possibly have. Mm-hmm. How do you make it bigger? And you make it bigger by having not just one title, but two titles in it. For the opportunity to have Becky win both championships at the end of the night.
Exactly.
That was bigger than her just beating Ronda or just beating Charlotte.
Yeah,
what if in one night, the one person that the entire audience is behind with Becky Lynch, why not give her that big payoff, and she gets everything in one night? The crowd will fucking lose their shit and get the big payoff. That's how you do it.
And while the payoff was good, the one thing I wish they would have done, and I still am gonna stand by this until it happens, unify the belts. Please.
Until they have a single brand again, they're not going to do that.
Yeah, as long as they have a Raw and SmackDown, they're not going to do that. When it was the Diva era, they had the Women's Championship and the Diva title with that stupid butterfly. I like butterflies, but not on a belt.
A butterfly earring was what that belt was.
and
one of the ugliest belts I've ever seen. I don't know which belt is more ugly in WWE history, the Divas title or the tag team titles now.
Oh. I think
because you got because now at one point the tag team titles were just Spartan pennies. Now they're Spartan dimes. Like, come on, WWE, you're better than this.
Well, remember when Paige went on Stone Cold's podcast and they showed the Divas title? She said, "Can we get rid of that?" She hated it. So it was girly. It was Diva. It wasn't a woman's championship. A woman. And so I tend to agree with my husband on that, because you have Ronda, who, yes, she's a heel, but there are people in the crowd who really do like Ronda.
And by the way, just because
I'm one of them,
doesn't mean we agree all the time about wrestling.
Not all the time, because he'll be getting into a match, and I'll walk in the other room and I'll be like, I'm going to go read a book.
Yeah.
Because if it has anything to do with Corbin, I'm in the other room. I can't.
Oh, thank you. Finally, somebody else. Yeah, I can't stand Baron Corbin either.
Waste of contract money.
I am fully with you. Thank you. Someone finally agrees with me on that.
Putting a live microphone in that man's hand should be a capital offense.
And not to mention, he's boring.
Yes.
Boring Corbin.
As soon as he had his last match against Roman Reigns, which was a good match, they took it to the floor and everything. when I found out they were going to wrestle each other again, I said, "Why?"
That was one more.
But at the end of the day, Michelle, you just became one of my new best friends just on that statement alone.
Every
Thank
now and then,
you.
I'll
Thank
hashtag hate Corbin to you.
Oh, by the way, real quick before I gotta say this, and I'm gonna bring up my friend Raphael Leduc from Montreal. Yeah, remember what Rhonda said last year? It's not true. Get over yourself. When she was saying about wrestling fans. She loves wrestling. It's obvious. Get over yourself. Stop believing in that shit. But speaking of my friend Leduc, I think you'll like this. There's a video on his YouTube channel from last December when he went to a house show, and he hates Baron Corbin just as much as you and I do. And he literally, he had the balls to do this. Sitting in the front row right by the stairs when they're walking up, he's yelling at Corbin, "Get good, you bastard." And Corbin literally looked at him, and they were arguing, only for Corbin to get back in the ring. Leduc's like, "Just get in the ring, just get in the ring and waste my time." I mean, Leduc and I have a love-hate friendship. Like, we make fun of each other, we insult each other all the time, but we're like brothers. But I even said to him, I am proud of you, because I probably would not have had the balls to do that. Or if I did, I'd probably get punched in the mouth, which is my luck.
I mean,
If it was any other era besides now, they'd be waiting for you in the parking lot.
Yeah. True.
I mean, the guy
Tell Dick Murdoch to get good.
He doesn't need to be a professional wrestler. Oh, excuse me, superstar. But no, I agree with him when it came to the Charlotte factor, because Ronda was still tweening. People were like, MMA fans were still 100% behind her. Charlotte was the heel.
But
Charlotte
once you
was
put
the
them
quintessential.
against Becky, everyone focuses on Becky as the baby.
And also, and the other key factor is when they were going at each other on Twitter, Becky was way funnier, and so people got more behind because of that, because it's obvious Becky's funnier than Ronda on insults, so that helped a lot.
I don't pay attention to the Twitter.
I don't either, but when I do see it from when other people talk about it, and I'll think, oh, that was pretty funny. But in the end, also forgot one other movie forgot to mention in the Foo, Scott. Rock Bottom.
There's a couple of rock bottoms throughout the night. So.
Becky did the rock bottom to Charlotte through the chairs during this match. But with the other cool thing, well, that's true. But one other cool thing about this match, one other great thing about this match was that because Becky and Charlotte have been friends for so long, they knew what they had to do to really get the crowd going and beat the fuck out of each other. And in the end, you had a crazy.
Don't forget I Am the Table.
Oh yeah, the moonsault where the table doesn't break. Japanese tables for the win. That's why Botchamania you have the Japanese table memes when tables don't break. Or Booker T going, wait a minute. When the table don't break.
I think that another part Becky could have used, and I don't know, maybe she used it in the Twitter war with her, but the fact that Becky was working the independent scene.
Charlotte never did.
She got the golden ticket to Willy Wonka's
Chocolate Factory.
Wrestling Factory, yeah.
But on the other side of it, she works her ass off, and she deserves that ticket because she is an incredible women's wrestler. When she first came in, I went, oh,
but I will say, because
who her daddy is. But now, if we say that, we're going to get in trouble with The Rock because his daughter got the ticket too.
Yeah, and also WWE. Just let me remind you, The Rock's daughter is not the first fourth generation athlete in sports. That's Adam Petty. Damn it.
There you go.
Roman Reigns
Rest in
is the
peace,
same
Adam
thing.
Petty.
Roman Reigns got the ticket too.
Yeah, he's too. But it's only been 2 years, and I hardly recognize Charlotte.
If you go to her Twitter page, she put a picture up of her standing with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
She's looking like Cher.
Oh God! Now you got me curious. Now I need to look this up now because I haven't
I'm not
seen
knocking
anything.
her in any way. If we had that kind of insurance, hell yeah, I'd sign up for some plastic surgery. But I think it's just once you start doing it, it's like getting tattoos. You get addicted to having it. But when I saw the picture of her with Stone Cold, I turned to him and I said, American Mary, the Barbie doll.
Yeah.
Just the work she's having done.
Oh my lord.
Did you just look it up?
Yep.
Yeah.
She looks completely different than
Her
she
face
did
is
when
so much
she came in 2
smaller
years ago.
now.
Yep.
Yes, last year even. So, maybe she's going to trade up her fiance for something new too. Who knows? But she's still a beautiful woman and a great wrestler, but she's just, I'm afraid she's getting, like I said, like tattoos, she's addicted to the plastic surgery.
Ricky, fuck off. I wasn't looking at news, you bastard. Jesus Christ. Anyways, but in the end, Becky beat Charlotte to retain the title in 28 minutes 40 seconds, the longest match on the card. But now we get to the main event of the night for the Raw Women's Championship. Champion Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella, and this was, I think, Nikki's last match
Thank
that she
God.
had before retiring. And the build up to this wasn't really much. I mean, yeah, they turned to Bella's heel and try and downplay Ronda, and then Ronda doing the same insult AJ Lee did years ago.
That's all the Bellas should be doing. That's all the Bellas should be doing is heel work, because even when they try to turn them face and sympathize them with Daniel Bryan and all that, the fans shit on them anyway. So make them heel, because they're actually pretty solid heels. They know how to. It's like the Young Bucks. Young Bucks need to be heels. The Bellas need to be heels because they know how to piss on people's legs.
Yeah,
I think they're solid heels. They know how to draw heat.
I think the reason the crowd they turned them heel is when they got in the ring with her to celebrate one of her things, and the crowd started booing because the Bella twins were in the ring.
Yeah, why are you here?
Yeah, why are you here? And valid point, why the hell were they there?
Yeah.
I'll be on my ring
to plug the show. Total Bellas.
And then, like...
Again, the Bellas, like Alicia Fox, were the last of that
of
dead
the Diva era.
Of the Divas that stuck around, the Johnny Ace era. I give the Bellas credit because they hung with it. They are not at the level of Asuka. They're not at the level of Charlotte or Bayley or Sasha. But they held on and they did the best they could, and they tried to hang with these girls and have the best matches possible, and they did. They did all right.
Yeah, Nikki's match with Natalya at Elimination Chamber 2017 was actually good.
Yeah, Nikki stepped it up. Nikki definitely stepped it up.
And controversial.
Step it up for this match.
And
Brie, on the other hand, had to try to emulate her husband's moves to get over.
Yeah, which was stupid.
Yeah, that's why she injured Liv Morgan.
Stupid.
Sorry, I know I said accidents happen, but she knocked her unconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Which is why Nikki got the match
instead of Brie.
Yeah.
But, and then Ronda doing the same insults AJ Lee said a few years back. It was still funny because, well, I mean, yeah. I mean, granted, I liked the Nikki Bella John Cena couple because I thought that was kind of cute. And also that one episode of Total Divas when Nikki moved in and she had her fucking dildo collection. I was like, good lord, this woman's crazy. I like it. But then when
the house couldn't contain her.
But then once they broke up, I was like, I don't care about the Bellas anymore. That ship is long sail. Yep. But regardless, still, despite everything, Ronda and Nikki put on a good main event. It wasn't bad. It was actually a solid match. Although, like, going back to Ronda, I always hated, like, during this time, I could not get, like, I can get part of the reason why people were starting to boo Ronda is because this was still during a time when she was coming out, like, smiling, being white meat babyface in the entrance to the crowd, and then doing her typical shtick in the ring, and people were like, we don't buy into that. You are a badass. Be a badass in your entrance. Have that mean look you had walking out in UFC, because I watched some of her stuff in UFC. Granted, prior to her fight with Kat Zingano, I did not see the hype in Ronda Rousey. Then I watched the fight with Kat Zingano. I'm like, I can get why I'm on board with Ronda Rousey and still am to this day. And, yeah, and then, like...
Can I say that probably the reason, just for the fact that when Scott and I, we were heels for a long time. Mm-hmm. When we turned babyface, we lived in Vermont and we were wrestling in Vermont. Turning babyface was a really nice
Some
thing.
people that we wrestle in front of saw us on a daily basis, so we kind of had to go babyface.
Yeah, when you're going to the pharmacy to pick up your prescription and there's somebody there who goes, "Wait a minute, aren't you Alexandra? Yeah, please just give me my prescription. I'm a really nice person."
When you're having breakfast at a Friendly's and a kid is talking to his Dad, I think I know what those two people are. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
So we were really happy to turn babyface.
Mhm.
When you get that babyface shot and bring Ronda Rousey in and signing her, and her first match is at WrestleMania against Stephanie McMahon, who do you think is going to be the babyface?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if her partner is Kurt Angle. She's going to be the babyface because
Yeah.
Stephanie was born to be a heel.
Yeah.
She was born to be daddy's girl, be a heel. And hell, I got a lot of my promo stuff from her. And not in the beginning. In the very beginning, I was like, "Oh, let Triple H talk. Your nails on a chalkboard."
Yeah,
But
there came a
got
time
older,
where I
got
got tired of hearing Stephanie on the mic in the later years.
absolutely. Or Triple H's promos that last 20 minutes. Ivory once said, "Triple H is on. I guess I can vacuum the house." "Oh, he's still talking? Guess I'll fold the laundry." That was before she became a Hall of Famer. But the point is, when you get signed and it's your dream to be in the WWE, and her dream was to be there because she loved Roddy Piper. All she wanted to do was be a women's wrestler at some point in her life. When she's walking down that ramp for those first couple of months and she's getting this babyface reaction, I think that's what was driving her to go talk to the fans and slap hands and stuff like that. But yeah, when you get into the ring and you get the mask of intensity like that, but also she did the same thing at WrestleMania when she wrestled Charlotte and Becky. When she came out to the Joan Jett playing her to the ring, which is exactly what I wanted to see as a fan.
Yeah.
She's smiling because she's looking. There's Joan Jett playing me to the
I do
ring.
think part of that, I think I think part of the reason why early on and then at 35, why she was doing the smiling things, because she was just such a fangirl about wrestling that she just was happy to finally be where she's wanted to be for years. And I can't blame her for that. Then when you get her in the ring, it's a completely different story. And say what you will about Ronda Rousey, but other than Kurt Angle, nobody picked up the business faster than Ronda Rousey.
She picked up on it wicked fast.
And here's one of the reasons why, and one of the other reasons why I don't like Brock Lesnar anymore, is because it's further amplified whenever I watch Ronda Rousey's matches. Yeah, both MMA style. But the key difference, and the reason I love Ronda so much in the ring instead of Brock, Ronda is willing to sell and make her opponents look good. Brock does not do that with a lot of people.
Thank you.
Some people.
Thank you, Levi. We're still friends.
Thank you, because
anytime he's watching a match with Brock Lesnar, I'm going, God, I hate that fucking guy.
And I'm like, because he's good at what he does.
Yes.
That's why
He's the Bruiser Brody of his generation, and nobody can take that away.
Fuck
Exactly.
no.
When he did what he did at the Royal Rumble,
and
he made his payday eliminating those 15 guys, and I was like, well, that's the
and
payday
then what
for the
happened?
entire year.
And then what happened?
He created a new star.
One kick over
Right.
the top he goes, the crowd fucking goes
He
crazy.
was more than happy
And
to work
at
with
WrestleMania when he wrestled Drew hit him with the kick 3-4 times, pinned him. Brock laid there and sold it. He didn't roll out of the ring and walk away. He laid there because that's respect for the business and selling the finish.
And that's why I said with most people.
Something.
Some people I can agree Brock does sell and put over well, like Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Finn Balor. But with some people like Roman Reigns, not really as much.
I mean, WWE does, contrary to what a lot of people think, WWE does try to make the effort to make new stars. It's unfortunately the people don't like.
It's the people, it's the wrestlers the people don't want.
Ali being the leader of Retribution. What's wrong with that? You know, it's a new guy.
I think it's something interesting.
Yeah, I just saw James posted, and I agree with you. He does.
When Brock wants to, he will sell amazing for people.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's also
with the whole Roman Reigns thing, though. They were pushing Roman like crazy, the same way they were pushing Charlotte like crazy. The crowd didn't want to cheer for Roman.
Yeah, and it's all because
they were resenting Charlotte, and so Brock Lesnar was having to wrestle a man that the crowd was booing and cheering him when Brock knew he was the heel. So yeah, Brock was a bit of a douche during that time, especially when he threw the belt at Vince. But it's just, to me, I was like, how much money are you spending on this man to come in and wrestle once a month?
Not anymore.
Yeah, when you told me he didn't get his title renewed, I went, yay!
But back with
another way to spend the money.
but back with Ronda, and going back to the point I was making about how she picked up on the business. Look at this match as a prime example. Like, she's out there against a heel Nikki with a heel partner in Brie, and she's selling her ass off to help make both look good. And the story they're telling that she has to overcome both sisters. Perfect basic psychology in this match as well, which is another reason why I say this was a good match. But in the end, there was no uncertainty of who was going to win here. Armbar, Ronda retains in 14 minutes, 15 seconds.
And that's like one aspect, I think, of the match that is something to point out. You touched upon, Levi's. You didn't believe probably for 1 second that Nikki was going to go up in this match.
Right.
You know, you knew Ronda was going to win.
Despite all the stuff they were doing with the selling and everything, at the end of the day.
Nikki never looked like a threat. You know, and that's what you need for somebody
especially
like
early in the match, too. We didn't even get to touch on the early part of the match where Ronda's just mocking her to no end, like, patting her, like, get up, you have to work. And then Nikki kicking the rope, like, come on, stop mocking me. I thought that was funny. But that's...
It was a good story, and I think that, again, Nikki had to step up her game to do what she needed to do, but it was a lot of going to the floor, and it was not a full-blown wrestling match.
No.
It was a story.
Yep.
That last match was a story, because how are you going to follow what you just saw with tables, ladders, and chairs, oh my, with Becky and Charlotte? You're not going to be able to follow that with a straight-up women's wrestling match, especially when Nikki is not that type of performer.
Yeah.
And Ronda could easily have gotten her in that arm bar
at any time, yeah.
Exactly.
And they were building that up, too, throughout the match as well, somewhat.
And I loved it when she got them both up.
For the Piper's Pit, yeah. Even though Brie kind of fucked up her landing a little bit.
Well, she had to, otherwise she would have landed on her head.
Right, and you saw, if you look close, you can actually see Nikki putting her hand on her own neck when she went down.
Yeah.
So she wouldn't hurt her neck.
Yeah.
And Brie took a ride over the announcer's table.
Yeah. But that's Evolution right there. So overall, really good show. Really good show. And a little question answer of, like, should there be another one? For me, there kind of doesn't really need to be another one, because it would kind of taint the historical aspect and the specialness.
They're trying to implement the women's division as just an important part as the men's, as on an equal level. Doing another one would
taint the show to a degree.
Yeah, because you're having women main eventing TV, they're main eventing pay-per-views above men. So that is, I think,
your evolution.
It is part of that evolution.
It's already
and
there's no sense in doing it.
And into the crust.
And let's not forget, I'm kicking myself for not bringing this up. Let's not forget, one of the only reasons this show happened was because of circumstances still going back to April when they did the Greatest Royal Rumble event in Saudi Arabia, and they could not have women on that show. So WWE thought, well, it's not right that they can't be there, so how about we make up for it and let them have their own show? And
now they're allowing women sort of to have matches in Saudi Arabia now.
Sort of. They can't dress up the way they do. They have to wear T-shirts, but it's something, I guess. Even though they don't really need to be going down there anymore, but blood money, I guess. I don't...
Well, they showed the footage of Sasha and Alexa, where the crowd was chanting, "This is hope." Outfits. Then there was, in Saudi Arabia, you had Natalia and
Lacey.
And that was really good.
So, yeah, you're getting to see it. But, yeah.
If you notice, when it comes to girls, if they come in and they're a little sloppy or they need some work done, who do they put them with? Natalia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because Natalia is more than willing to get in the ring and show you what you're doing wrong or what you need to do better. Lacey was doing really good in NXT, And I think they brought her up just a little too late.
Little too soon, because she still had a lot to learn. Like, this was one of the big criticisms I had for Lacey when she came up. It's like she wasn't proven yet, and she was just starting to get it together at NXT, only to bring her up just to go up against Becky because they needed a heel for Becky to work with.
Yeah.
And
Becky,
it wasn't the right person to do it.
Her.
And that was the whole teaming her with Corbin and having them feud with Seth and Becky, and
Yeah.
And then they finally put Lacey against Natty, and suddenly you saw
that's when Lacey started to kind
the
of click a
improvement
little
and the
bit.
ability. Plus, making a United States Marine a heel. Stupid.
Yeah.
You have a poster girl.
Mm-hmm.
Make her the babyface.
A role model, because she's a mother and was in the Marines. Yeah. Why are you making her heel and being like this, almost like the beautiful people in one person?
It's all about living on the farm with her husband and her daughter.
Exactly.
And,
and didn't they make her a heel again for absolutely no reason?
I think
I don't know if she's full heel or if it was just
It's getting to a point where I don't want to jinx it, but it is almost like the Diva division because there's so many of them.
Yeah, they need to find more stuff for them to do, or start using them in other shows.
Yeah.
I mean, you end up with tag matches. If you start seeing the women being shoved out there for 3-on-3s or 4-on-4s,
that's
means that
bad news.
That's bad news because that means that they're running out of ideas.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened before the hashtag did give divas a chance. If I may say something.
Here we go.
The whole give divas a chance. Oh, I agreed with it 100% because it was after Trish and Lita left. It was after Jacqueline, Ivory, and Molly Holly were gone, and Gail Kim had gone over to TNA. And I agree 100% that the women's evolution was definitely happening in TNA because it was a smaller women's roster and they were doing their own thing there. But when they hashtag give divas a chance thing, everybody said, oh, thank God it was the Bellas were in the ring with Paige and Emma, and that's when it started. You're forgetting Paige and Emma were having amazing, solid singles matches
in NXT.
It was FCW, right?
It was NXT.
It was NXT.
Yeah, it was NXT because they were in the finals of the first ever women's title tournament.
And in NXT,
and that was an amazing match.
Exactly. In NXT, the women were taking those chances, and if you watch any behind documentaries about it, Sarah Del Rey was the one, or I don't know her
Sarah
Amato, Sarah Del Rey, the one who trained them, who of course was part of Lexi Fi's Slammin' Ladies
and the Kings of Wrestling with Claudio and Chris Hero.
Right.
Exactly. She's
I'm sorry, Cesaro and Cassius. Oh no.
She wrestled everybody. Was she part of Women of Honor too? Maybe.
Women of Honor kind of, yeah.
And you know, it's funny, and speaking of Sarah Amato, it kind of pains me, like they have her there to train, but imagine what they could have done with her in the ring. They could have done a WWE, even though it might kind of be like painful to think because it's WWE, but imagine if they could have done the Kings of Wrestling group in WWE with Cesaro, Cassius, and Sarah. That could have been something, but
maybe, but because she was experienced, and of course you got Serena Deeb came in and she was doing it, as well as Sarah Stock, who was
Sarita in TNA
with Zelina,
who was awesome.
Yes, they were fantastic together. But
I gotta bow out, guys. The wife needs a hand with something. The cat's got to get its medicine. So
alrighty, we'll soldier on.
All right.
Have a good night, Bubba.
Soldier on. I will see you guys next week.
Give the wife my best.
I will. Do my plus for Scott.
What was I saying? Sarah Del Rey. Having Sarah Del Rey in there and an experienced independent worker who also was able to take the girls aside and say, you know what? They're paying attention. They're doing their own thing. They're telling us to learn how to catfight. Let me show you other things that we can do in the ring. And Paige already had her own experience because fighting with my family, no pun intended on it. Put these women together and you're able to create something completely different. So when they're saying the give divas a chance, it's give the WWF/E women a chance. NXT women were already proving that, what they could do.
And let's not
Divas
forget,
not necessarily could do that
Mhm.
because unless they were getting in the ring every morning with Fit Finley, like Trish and Lita, Victoria, Molly, all those girls were doing,
mhm.
then certain women from the Divas category weren't. So, sorry, never liked the Bella Twins.
Yep.
Glad they're gone. Never freaking cared for them. Anybody who gets a shot because you're on the Diva search, don't get me wrong, some of them turned out to be really great. Eve Torres, she turned out to be incredibly valuable to the company. Michelle McCool,
Mhm.
no Diva search, no Mrs. Undertaker.
Yeah.
So a lot of the women that came through the Diva search were great. You get two twins, they end up in OVW, and they decide to tell John Laurinaitis, who ends up becoming their stepfather, that they're going to leave if they don't get called up.
Mhm.
Then they get fired. Then why are they rehired? This is all my opinion, folks. By the way, but I have heard enough from other shoot interviews that this is what happened.
Jim heard enough.
I heard enough. They get fired, come back because of Total Divas. They needed two girls to be the bitches.
Mhm.
They get brought in, and why else did they get bring in? Because of who they're sleeping with.
Yep. And let's not forget also that it was because of the Bellas why Maria Kanellis didn't get hired back to the company sooner. Supposedly.
Oh, really? What
Yeah,
did I miss?
because there was a rumored story out there that Maria was supposed to come back as 2013, but because of rumored resentment from Nikki Bella being angry at her for dating or being with Dolph Ziggler back when he was dating Nikki, she was like, I don't want Maria back, and apparently it was enough to put the kibosh on Maria coming back in 2013, all because of Nikki.
That's rumored, and I don't buy that. I'm sorry, Nikki does not have the kind of stroke. She's not a part of the office. That's Vince's decision.
True, but she would have a temper tantrum.
Or also because she was dating Cena at the time, that could have had a part in it too.
That is possible.
So, but regardless.
Hell, all the women that were in storylines with John Cena, you would have had to fire at least 5 of them.
But real quick, before getting
now-
into the questions, so now on to the best match and worst match of Evolution. I think for me, best match would go to Becky versus Charlotte.
I agree.
And it was also perhaps one of the top 5 best matches on pay-per-view in
Absolutely.
2018.
In 2018, yeah.
Worst match, well, granted, no bad match on the card, but if I had to pick the one I was the least invested in, probably the Battle Royal.
I think it's the de facto worst match, but
Yeah.
there's no bad match on the show.
Yeah, even
It's just-
for Battle Royal, it was still fun.
it was still good.
But
yeah.
it was
So
just
it's
the
kind of
one
de
match
facto,
on the
like,
show that I was kind of like,
if there's no bad match, because none of the matches did bad at all. They were all great.
It'd be one of
But-
those examples like SummerSlam 2002 where the worst match on the card is really good. And it's
Yeah.
a rare case of like a worst match on a show being something you could still watch. So
What did you think?
it's kind of like one of those things.
See, because of my thing with Trish and Lita and Mickey, that was my
your
favorite match.
Yeah, you're more
Yeah.
impressed.
I was more invested in that match. And sorry, Levi, I'm not a Shayna Baszler fan.
I'm not Shayna Baszler. I'm not super into her. Like, I like her, but she ain't nearly my favorite.
Yeah, because
Like, I can respect what she does in the ring, and from all accounts that I've seen her on like Twitch hanging out with Dakota Kai, oh, she's so goofy.
Scaring her.
Yeah, that's something. She kind of is like the female me. I do that all the time to my mom, and it freaks her out every time.
I don't dislike her by any means as a human being.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's
And
really cool.
fellow metalhead, she was in the Amon Amarth Raise Your Horns video drinking beer out of a drinking horn, wearing a Go Horse shirt.
I think they took it off of Kyrie too soon.
Yeah,
I think
I would
she
agree with
kept
that.
Kyrie a little longer. And with the Shayna Baszler, as soon as I saw her, they're not going to do a full horsewoman because of Ronda hitting her stride. There was no way, and I wasn't expecting to see the 3 of them get involved in the main event because that would have turned Ronda heel immediately if those 3 came down to the ring. But with Shayna Baszler, as soon as I saw her, again, I looked at him and I said, Triple H has found his new China. And not the same thing to me. You know, if there was a woman that stood out to me in women's wrestling right now, it's Sasha. I'm glad she's back. I think she stands out. She's more than happy to do whatever it takes when she's out there. And I'm glad that they're turning to babyface. It was time to turn her babyface. They probably wanted to do it a little bit sooner, but it was a case of getting the tag titles off of them and her losing the Raw Championship. So,
yeah.
So, question from Russell out there.
Oh yeah, Russell asked earlier about. Let me find it.
The Rock and Roll.
Yeah, what do y'all think about the Rock and Roman at WrestleMania? It kind of makes sense. I mean, it does make sense, but I don't see it happening because I think the Rock is legitimately done with wrestling in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a great match.
It would be awesome. It'd be awesome, and it makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
but because I don't think the Rock's
going to be another WrestleMania with no audience, they're not.
Nah,
it's not going to happen. So.
Nah,
I'd be surprised if Rock ever shows back up in the WWE. He doesn't.
Well, maybe for like an appearance every once in a while, but not to wrestle.
Yeah, not to wrestle.
Although I could argue maybe they could do it because you need something for a better lasting memory of The Rock as a wrestler than him beating Eric Rowan in 30 seconds. Because that was stupid, absolutely stupid. Made Bray Wyatt look like crap. But yeah, it makes perfect sense. Now. But yeah,
I hear he's doing fine now.
Yeah, that is true. But at that time, yeah, it could have really hurt him bad. Let's see what else was there. And if you guys have questions, ask them in the comments. We'll hang out here for probably another 20 minutes.
Yep.
And then we'll be heading off the air. Oh, Ricky asked, did you get a chance to listen to the new AC/DC song, I Legit Cried? I haven't yet. I do need to listen to it.
I've contemplated doing a reaction video for it, but my guess is it sounds like old AC/DC, so probably not.
But hey, even old AC/DC's awesome, so there you go. But yeah, speaking of, we were talking about music earlier. For those of you out there who are watching that are also fellow metalheads, if you ask me right now, best album, just for me, yesterday the new Necrophobic album came out yesterday, and it was amazing. If you like blackened death metal with a lot more melody, that's kind of more in keen with At the Gates, Dissection, and late 80s era Bathory, you're going to love Necrophobic because the vocals are so intense.
That's okay.
And the melodies, really beautiful melodies too. And it's great. And I think the thing that got me hooked on that album was when the single Mirror Black came out in that music video of just them going nuts on their instruments and the vocalist just going insane. And it's like their version of Corpse Paint ain't really Corpse Paint. It's more just like puff on makeup with a little bit of like gray eyes. Not really Corpse Paint, but it is what it is.
I may have did a reaction for Necrophobic. Now you're talking about it, and I didn't post it because I just ripped the shit out of them.
Oh God!
Because I think they overdid it with the satanic imagery. It's just
it's not as apparent now. It's like but...
maybe I'm getting I don't know if I get the wrong band, but it sounds like that because like there was like there was pentagrams and inverted crosses and 666 on the guy's guitar and everything like that, and he's trying to do the corpse paint, like you said. It's just like, guys, you're not scary. You're not.
I thought you guys were Satanists.
Exactly. Well, yeah, we are. But
I don't know, because in that Mirror Black video, I don't see any of that.
Maybe thinking of a different band.
Probably thinking of a different band.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like most of their lyrics are satanic, but they also got a lot of like Viking history in their lyrics too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like early on when you listen to like the first album, I'm trying to remember, Nocturnal Silence. Yeah, the album cover directly satanic, but the music was badass. So it's almost like bands like Necrophobic, Vital Remains, Behemoth even, and Belphegor. They're trying to do like what Deicide did, but make it better. Because other than the first three Deicide albums and Stench of Redemption, you could just pass on Deicide. Thank God you got bands who do the whole satanic death metal thing way better. Way better.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even really into the satanic death metal style, but I can acknowledge that bands like Vital Remains are so talented and so good.
Yeah, it was necrophobic. It was the video for Mirror Black. It's like, guys,
and I don't even
off.
it's like I didn't even see any of that either, which is weird, but whatever.
You're not scaring.
At least it ain't like Gaul from Gorgoroth. Yeah, thank you, Ricky. Holy hell! But what else was I gonna bring? Oh yeah, now that I brought it up earlier. So the video I was wanting to see you react to that I was gonna send you, Scott, because I keep bringing up Adam Blampied a bunch on this show. There's one particular video he did this year that I think I would like to hear your opinion on his idea of booking an angle.
Oh yeah,
and it's a video of him of how he would have booked Dean Ambrose's heel turn before he left for AEW.
Okay.
Because, holy crap, he makes it sound depressing and sad. And if they had actually done it, well, granted, he even acknowledges in the video, that's all with the benefit of hindsight of knowing that Roman was in remission from his leukemia. Because had they actually done this without the knowledge, it would have been unthinkable and it would have been bad. But with the benefit of hindsight, had they done it the way he booked it, it would have been brilliant, and it would have been a proper goodbye to Ambrose from the company instead of just putting him through the ringer like they did. So,
yeah, send me the link on that. See what it looks like.
I will, because even as I was watching the video, I even kind of got a little, not crying, but a little bit like, ooh, this is some intense, sad stuff. But and yeah, he was started out as like one of them internet guys, but hey, he eventually got to work in the business, so he got to live in the dream for about a year. Got to go out there, help book shows in England, and actually get to do on-camera stuff with Sandow and Bischoff, who's his biggest idol. Hell, he tries to model himself and his looks after Eric Bischoff. And he even talks about it back when he used to work at What Culture. Like, if I had a Game of Thrones flag, Eric Bischoff's face would be on all of my banners, because he is the embodiment of my life. Because he's such an Eric Bischoff mark.
Kid needs to get out more.
And he was willing to take a table bump, so gotta respect him that he's willing to take a power bomb off the top rope through a table. And get to... No, he ain't a wrestler. He was, like I said...
Want me to continue what I'm about to say, right?
No, it's okay.
But still... He took a power bomb and got fucked up in it too. But anyways,
of course he did.
Hell, I'd take a table bump if I could.
And I never did that. Never did chairs, ladders, or tables.
Well, yeah, but you did trays and the cat of nine tails and the
crutches.
paddle and the crutches, and yeah, you did do that stuff. So,
well, I tell you, the cat of nine tails was Demonica's trademark, and it really it didn't bother me as much.
There's another girl in the Independence named Demonica. It's not her. This is a different girl.
This is the one from the early 2000s. Yeah, whenever we had a match, I was, all right. Obviously, we planned the match ahead of time. I would say you used the cat and nine tails, and I had a paddle, which the paddle was a hockey stick that they created and taped it up. I still have it.
Yeah, we do.
And they taped it up, and it was the longest paddle in history. It's at least 4
it's
feet.
like 5 feet.
At least 4 feet tall. Yeah. And she would take the cat and nine tails to me, and all the guys in the back would be staring at the monitor going...
That's funny.
And the cat and nine tails never bothered me. But when I would take the paddle to her, she would be like, ow, legit, ow. And I'd be like, yo, Demonica, take it.
That's funny.
Yeah, but she got you back with the drop.
Oh, yeah. There's a couple of injuries that I took over the years. She called cat and nine tails. Sorry. She called drop toe hold on the floor in the middle of
right down her knees
in the middle of our first hardcore match, and it was hardwood floor, basketball floor. She called it. I went down on both knees. To this day, both knees snap, crackle, pop, and then There was the Shayna spot.
Yeah, the Shayna slap.
It was a decent match. Everything came out good in the end. But in the beginning, I was the heel, and I got face to face with her, and I said, "You ready?" She said, "I'm ready." And so I slapped her, and then she open hand slapped me right across the face. And to this day,
My jaw pops.
my jaw pops. So when I
went out and came back.
So when I went to a specialist actually for my ears this year, he heard my jaw pop and he went, "Oh my God, do you realize that your jaw actually is a little unhinged in that spot?" And I told him, "This happened like 17 years ago."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Well, there's no surgery for it." I said, "Do you really think I'd want surgery after 17 years?" Just hearing it pop. Oh, and then there was the time I took the wet floor sign.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
They initially called chair, and the booker said, "No, hit her with a wet floor sign. It's the first time she's going to take anything like that."
It's a deal where we're standing next to each other in the ring, and the guy is supposed to aim for me, but I duck, and she gets it inadvertently. So she got it.
And you know what? It didn't hurt. It stung.
Yeah.
And I fell to the floor, sold it like I was crying, forgetting the fact that my parents were in the front row.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So when I get to the back, the security guard is friends with Scott and I, as well as my family. He runs over and says, "She's okay. She's fine."
It's a gift from you. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, "Mom, this is the first time it's going to happen. It's not going to be the last." My parents
Ricky,
a lot of shows.
Ricky, to answer your question, no, I have not listened to the new Ulver album. I didn't know they had a new album. So should I listen to it? That's the better question.
Yeah. And I know Ricky's answer. Yes.
Yes.
Because
yeah.
he and Hannah are so into that album. Because they go on Facebook all day talking about it, and it blows up my phone with, "Ah!"
I will admit, guys, the music that you're talking about, I don't listen to.
Yeah.
I know black metal and death metal because of him.
Right.
Yeah.
We will sit down and watch the Beggar's Journey and stuff, and she's interested in that and appreciates that.
You ought to show her the Lockhorn show, because I've been mentioned on that show many times.
Yeah, Banger TV, the guy that did the Journey, has his own TV show, and they have a segment called
YouTube
Podcast.
channel.
Oh,
channel.
all right, cool. I like him. He's cool.
And one of the guys on that show, or on Banger TV, I managed to get on my metal podcast, who's also the guitarist in the band Exciter up in Canada, Daniel DK. We got on there about a month ago, and it was awesome. Even though he was hungover and he had no idea he was doing a camera interview, but he was so cool, so nice, and we got to talking a little bit during his live stream where he's just shredding on guitar. And it was awesome. He's a really cool guy. I think he's only like 3 or 4 years older than me.
Yeah, he's young. Yeah,
he's a youngin'. He's a youngin', but fucking awesome guy and a hell of a player. Like, he actually played Cannibal Corpse last night, even though he kind of butchered it a little bit. He played Hammer Smashed Face. I mean, I thought he did.
Corpse, I get it.
Yeah. What do you think I said?
Well, you said butchered. I was like, oh, butchered, Cannibal Corpse. I get it.
Oh, okay. There we go.
You didn't even get your own joke. Come on, dude.
You walked into it.
But her extended metal is she will listen to King Diamond. She has to.
Motorhead.
Listen to Motorhead. She'll listen to that on her own. And Metallica and AC/DC and
My
that's about it, I
metal
think.
music for me.
You like Hailstorm?
Yeah. My metal music for me growing up was what I have 2 older cousins, Todd and Mark, and they listened to a lot more metal. So I would hear their music, and it would be Iron Maiden, Metallica, stuff like that. I didn't really get into listening to that kind of stuff until I was him. Do I understand death metal? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Do I appreciate? Sorry, somebody just over in our house.
Someone just wooed.
Do I appreciate what their art form? Yes. And we have friends because of you. We have friends in the New York death metal scene.
Oh,
So
the classic.
I appreciate the kind of people that they are because they're good people.
Will Robert.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And
But it's also, I get to explain to her like the differences between black metal, death metal, and stuff.
that's why you
She
have to
actually,
show me the other thing.
She had a friend of hers that was an author and was writing about this
Norway.
this Norwegian like biker bar,
Yep.
and she was saying that they were listening to black metal, but it was AC/DC in her
What?
book. Yeah, so I had to tell her to tell the author that's not black metal.
No.
And bless her heart, she said, "Oh well, I have friends in Norway that told me," and I said, "No, just trust me. There's
Yeah.
AC/DC would not be played in a Norwegian
Yeah.
biker
And
bar."
Ricky, she won't watch Lords of Chaos because I watched it once. I fucking hated it, and she knows that, so she won't watch it.
Oh, was that the thing on?
It's the black metal movie thing.
Oh,
they did.
Mayhem, Burzum,
Brother in it?
Yeah.
Rory Culkin.
Not my gig.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fuck that movie.
But what else was I gonna say? Oh
There's
yeah.
one movies we watch. We were just watching You're
You're
Next. We do love horror movies.
Great slasher movie.
And all the zombies, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw Massacres.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I'm one of probably a handful of people. I really like Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Mhm.
I really like that one.
Speaking
Well,
of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Scott, you ought to get her into the song "The Saw Is the Law" by Sodom because it's about
Oh, yeah,
the
you-
Texas
that
Chainsaw
one, yeah,
Massacre,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's a
because-
great song. It's thrashy, but it kind of more mid, like almost like Metallica-esque style.
20 years together, we can have an hour-long debate about all the different Texas Chainsaw movies.
Mhm.
Jeez.
And there's no arguing or right or wrong. We will have debates about it, and we'll do
Right.
the same thing with
Like
Saw.
I love the original. She doesn't.
It's just the way it's just the way it's filmed.
She loves the second
Yeah,
movie. I think
70s
okay.
style.
third movie is kind of like you enjoy the third movie more than I do.
Third movie, I have an autograph.
Yeah, we have Ra right there.
Yes,
Ari Malinoff, who played Leatherface in Texas
Walter got
3.
it for us.
It's right there.
Well,
And now
Walter-
you guys have just made Ricky want to watch that movie now because he just said I might watch it tonight.
there
Which
you go.
one?
After
You're
all,
next?
he's Horror Master on YouTube, so it makes
Yeah,
sense.
he's Horror Master,
And
she knows.
speaking of like documentary movies that you guys should check out, it's on YouTube because the film creator decided to put it out for people to watch during this stupid pandemic crap, and that's "Slave to the Grind" documentary about grindcore.
Oh,
And it's an amazing documentary, despite about 20 minutes of the movie, it feels like they talk nothing but about the band Anal Cunt for 20 minutes.
I'm in. I'm there.
Because of Seth Putnam and how he was. But they do talk a lot about... I think the main bands they talked the most about in that documentary were Repulsion, Napalm Death, Terrorizer, Brutal Truth, Nasm, Anal Cunt, a little bit of Carcass... and then they also go into like the different scenes, like the Canadian scene, the Japanese scene, the Australian scene, the British scene, the American scene, the Swedish style. Even though honestly, the Swedish style is just the Swedish death metal, but just grindy because they use the same guitar style. But beyond the point. But it's a great story. It's a great story, and also a lot of good interviews and stuff too, and plus they kind of go in depth about the different subgenres of grind. Well, not all of them, but the main ones they talked about were traditional grind. No, they didn't talk about porno grind. I think they only talked about traditional grind, mincecore, which is not really a subgenre. It's just traditional grindcore, but just more left-wing political stuff, which I can't get into, but... And that's down to the band Agathocles from Belgium. And then gore grind, basically grindcore about gore with Carcass and early Exhumed. I wish they would have talked about death grind and talked more about cattle decapitation, Brujeria, early Fear Factory when they were kind of on that style before they went all industrial. But that's a movie you guys should check out because it's a good story.
I started thinking about Grindhouse.
Yeah.
Planetara.
Planetara,
I
and
can
Death
watch
Grip.
that all the time.
Mhm.
And what other? I'm looking. I'm not ignoring. I'm looking off to the side to our DVD collection. Yes, we still have DVDs.
So does he. They're right behind him.
Yes, I know. I told Scott, I said,
Blu-rays.
what's this setup? It's DVD collection.
Mhm.
Yep, and I got them all organized, like up there is most of my miscellaneous stuff and some TV stuff. Then I got my Blu-rays, mostly Marvel, then CDs, and then all wrestling DVDs, and then down to the bottom, like SpongeBob, Full House, and all my PS3,
We were
PS4
watching
games.
SpongeBob this morning.
Yeah.
He made cinnamon rolls for breakfast, so we were watching SpongeBob on Prime.
Yeah, we're
I'm
watching.
Patrick Star! I don't understand the question.
So we were.
What do you want? Lay it on me.
We were watching the one with the Flying Dutchman.
Yeah.
Which one?
You're
There's so many.
You're good.
Oh, yeah, the Shanghai.
Shanghai.
That's a great one.
We love doing SpongeBob voices for our niece.
Ah! Oh, please.
Who? Somebody else ask a question?
Ricky just said, I prefer the remake to than the OG, more gory, meaning the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the which
Jessica Biel.
Yeah.
Yes, what's his name?
Ricky.
Ricky.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. The way the first one was shot was just a little too of this for me.
Mm-hmm.
It actually messes with my equilibrium more than anything else. So I like this the remake because one, I think Jessica Biel's a great actress.
Yeah.
And who doesn't want to see her walking around in men's tight jeans? Come on, she's cute.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Alec Balfour. I thought the whole cast was good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a different family setup. And who better to play a horrible sheriff, a miserable horror movie sheriff, than
Arlie Ermy.
God rest his soul.
Oh yeah.
He was fantastic because he became the second bad guy.
Right.
And he obviously is what ended up creating if you can sit through the beginning, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That one was really
overdone.
That was really too much torture for me. I'm not into torture horror.
Yeah.
I like horror.
And Saw is not torture porn, people. I'm sorry, it's not.
No, it's to me.
The furthest I go with horror movies is Scream and Halloween. That's just my forte. Particularly Scream because I love that aspect of it's a movie within a movie. I really, really like that about the Scream movies. Well, with all that said, I think that's a good time to wrap up. It's now 11 o'clock.
Oh, no, he
it's
said
been a while.
exactly. I got to finish talking to Ricky. He said exactly. I would think that also between Ari, but when you watch the beginning one, I swear the main reason that I like to rewatch that movie is Matt
Bomer.
Matt Bomer. Fantastic actor, everything he does. So I think that just seeing him in that movie was great. So I at least wanted to finish saying that.
Yeah,
Come on, we're talking about horror movies. We could go on for another half hour.
We're not. Thank you.
Yeah, I have to go pee really bad. My bladder's getting brutal. But
do,
before
don't
we
worry.
go, it's plug time. Start
time.
off, you can subscribe to me, ThrashManiac99. I do plan on streaming again tomorrow. No idea what I'm going to be doing. I might stare in the camera for 2 hours.
Jackass.
Damn you.
Did you think he wasn't going to do that?
Yeah.
But regardless, yeah, you can subscribe there. You can follow me on Twitter, even though my Twitter is pretty much dead, but at ThrashManiac99, where I forgot to this week, but every Wednesday I post Woman Crush Wednesday for Zev Bellringer, because why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
But yeah. And she's got the Zevy Awards coming next month, and she's going to go live, not really getting nude, but mostly to talk to people, because she did last year, and I had a fun time talking to her. She was so nice.
Is this his social life?
Yes.
Okay.
For the time being, until I can find a woman to share this with.
I don't know any single ones. I'm sorry.
Not your age. So.
Levi, if I did, I'd tell you about them eventually.
All right.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I'd have to vet you first to see if you were good enough.
I'm going to interview you. Anyway.
Scott?
Find me at Mr. Scott Reacts on my reaction channel. Got a lot of fun stuff lined up for October. You can find me on the Necrocasticon Horror and Metal Podcast with Walt Ball from this show, our buddies Tom Clark, Dan Roberts, and Skip Novak, where we talk horror and heavy metal every Monday on the Project Entertainment Network. And you can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. Scott Reacts. You can find our brother Walt Ball here. He is on Twitter at Your Walt Ball and on Instagram at smokin_Walt_Ball.
And don't forget to subscribe here because next week's episode is going to be cool. We're going back to Halloween Havoc, this time Halloween Havoc 1993 with the return of James. We Are Pro Wrestling back in the special guest chair for next week's episode because I know he's got a lot to say about this show. In fact, he's done a review of it on From the Vault before, and it was a good episode. So it's going to be interesting to hear him talk about it again, but with us. Then the week after, we're going to go back to TNA Bound for Glory 2005, and then to close out the month, or go into November, depending, Halloween Havoc 1998. And then it's Survivor Series month and all that, but
All that fun
anyways,
stuff.
I have to go piss because my bladder is fuller than a gas tank in a semi-truck. Thank you guys for watching.
Twitter account. Do I get to talk?
Fire it off quick, babe.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I almost forgot. Duh.
Forget me. I thought we were friends.
I'm sorry. I have a terrible
Smile.
memory.
You love us.
Smile. You love me. My Twitter is at Mrs. Michelle with 2 L's 02.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't post anything Major League City.
Well, it's Mrs. Michelle G.
Oh, geez. Thank you, honey. I'm sorry. G as in G.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so Mrs. Michelle with 2 L's G 02.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll hear me talk about fibromyalgia. If you want to know what it's like to have fibromyalgia, think of a saw trap.
Yeah,
Ooh.
every day.
Well,
Right
anyway,
now, I'm in excruciating pain.
yeah.
Right.
Well, anyways, thank you guys for watching. Horns high. We'll see you.